10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Ninja Kitty and Dayzed Gaming Amico Fun Time. Ninja Kitty and Dayzed Gaming Amico Fun Time.
No. Access.
Nice.
You like the new intro there, Hammock guy?
That was great. I love it.
I whipped that one up together today, so hope you enjoyed it.
Well done.
So it's been a month since last time we had one of these little things.
Yes, it has.
Lots has happened.
Sure.
Everything's very exciting in the Amico land, but before we get into that, how are you doing?
I am doing great. It's actually been snowing here today. So the hammock videos are definitely going to be done for the year because we have reached winter. But we're staying warm. Just hanging out on a Sunday. Glad to be here.
This is awesome. How much snow did you guys get? Like a lot?
Not very much. It was just a dusting, but it was the first one of the year, so you know it's coming. I mean, we'll get more. So I'm definitely living in the north compared to growing up in Georgia. So the snow's coming. It's just a matter of how much are we going to get?
How much? It's really weird here that like a week ago we had weather just like your last hammock video, where it's a little cool. You can go outside and grass is green, and you go during the day in the shorts, and then suddenly winter hit overnight, and in the last 5 days we've had like 3 feet of snow, 2 feet of snow, 3 feet.
Wow. Yeah.
And it's annoying. It's like keep shoveling, then you have to like driveway's clear, then an hour later it's covered in snow.
I know, it's frustrating.
So at this point it's this is the best time now. Now I have an excuse to stay inside and play video games and watch YouTube and not feel guilty like throughout summer when I would, not go out and enjoy the weather because I was watching YouTube videos. And
that is the nice thing about wintertime. You can be a sloth and no one's going to be too hard on you.
Have you played any games in the last month at all? Have you had time?
When I have time, I normally will just go and play retro games. I've been going through and trying to see if I can beat all the way through Mike Tyson. So I've been playing Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Was playing some F-Zero on the Super Nintendo the other day.
Nice.
The only modern game that I really play, and I hadn't been playing for a while because my controller was broken. And so I just recently got a new controller, and last night me and my son were playing some Warzone, Call of Duty. So that's pretty much, if I'm going to be playing something new other than something on the Switch, it's usually like Call of Duty or something like that.
No Astro Smash?
No. I did play some Astro Smash, however, on my last, or the one Intellivision stream I did. I brought out some Intellivision games. I'd like to do that again, like go and explore some more of the library. I'll be honest, I was not that impressed with Astro Smash though, for like the amount of credit that it gets, and it's like their big game. The Astro Smash is like the #1 main game that they always show and talk about, and it's just shooting asteroids, sliding back and forth. I mean, it Space Invaders was first, and Space Invaders is a way better game, in my opinion. So I don't see all the love for Astro Smash.
You don't see the love for it?
No, it's just a generic, just shooter. I mean, it's even Asteroids, I think, is a better game for the Atari. At least you can move around. I mean, all it is your ship sliding along the bottom, shooting asteroids. I mean,
generic as it can get.
I mean, you got to give it a pass because it was what 79, 80 when it came out. So yes, it's going to be generic, but I think games were done better before, Asteroids and Space Invaders.
I'd agree with that. It's pretty boring.
Yeah, it's
and not much of a challenge. At least some of those other games, requires skill.
Yes, I have the Intellivoice too. The one, I don't know if you remember in Angry Video Game Nerds, AVGNs, where the B-17 bomber episode. Do you remember that where he did B-17 bomber?
I am familiar with the B-17 bomber after the Sinister Moon video that I did.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm not sure. Did you see that one?
Yes, I did. Did you have that in there? I don't remember that.
I have it still. Maybe I can bring it up. Hang on. Go ahead. Keep talking.
Oh no, but I want to break out the Intellivoice and just try to hear. It's like I have all these things and I never bring them out to play with them. And I thought maybe it would be some, do a live stream or do videos playing some of this stuff when we're not talking about the Amico. So
I did like your live stream of Double Dragon because it reminded me of when I play video games and blame everything about the game and the controller instead of my own skills.
Like come on, like that game. That's weird. You have to be successful. You have to be able to do like the knee kick or when you land, that's your crouch. So you have to hit a button. Like I can't remember what it is now. It's like forward and B or something at the same time. Or to do an uppercut, you need to be able to do uppercuts and knees out of that kneeled position, or you cannot be successful in that game. And that's the problem I was having. I was like, I know I'm hitting the buttons. I know I'm hitting them when I'm supposed to, and it wouldn't do it. So yeah, you just start blaming the controls when it's obviously
I blame the controller at all times.
Mm-hmm.
And I realize how bad it is when my daughter starts blaming the controller for not registering the inputs. I'm like,
I know, yeah, exactly.
And like it clearly is. It's just that I suck. I'm getting older. Yeah. My reactions suck.
Exactly. But yeah, no, I want to do some of that. I want to get out some of the old games. That's what I'm kind of doing now anyways, is just I like games that like I struggled with in what's up, Blinded Braille? I see you posted. I can't see any of the comments. I'll just see whatever you post up there. But that's what I'm trying to do, like go back through some of my library of NES games and games that like I struggled with as a child. I'm trying to master and beat, so I have some sense of accomplishment of beating the games that annoyed me as a kid. I could never do. Like Double Dragon was one of them. I could never get by all of those platforming parts. They're so difficult because you have to hit A and B to jump at the same time. So
that's what the modern day with the emulators with the save states. That's how I beat a lot of those games I couldn't as a kid.
I've done that too, but it still kind of feels like cheating a little bit.
Oh, it definitely is, yeah.
But it's a good way to practice those parts that otherwise you would have to play through the entire game to get to again. So that way you have the opportunity to go through in one shot. Like that's the best thing about emulation save states is it lets you practice the areas that maybe you only made it like one time as a kid, and it was so freaking hard that you had no chance. It's really one of those things that you have to practice over and over again. And I mean, I would try that, but I would get irritated after a while, like as a child, like trying to go through the same parts in these old games over and over again to get one more chance to get my ass kicked.
Yep, especially as a kid, a lot of times I rented games, so you'd only have it for like one day.
Exactly, yeah.
Especially on a school night, I would have.
You better hope that game has some continues, or that game is half decent, or your whole weekend is just shot as far as gameplay.
Don't forget to like the video, peeps. Go for it. Yes, like the video. I had 3 dislikes before we even started. First thing this morning, I'm like, well, you can take a guess of who those 3 people are.
Yeah, exactly. Relic and all of his alt accounts.
Probably. So, my friend Hammock guy, today there was an event.
Yes.
In Boston, and I just want to see if I can zoom this in so people can see. I like the poster they have out on the front, and I apologize if Saggy created this, and I don't want to crap on it too much.
Of
But
course,
I did find
Tommy's front and center.
And meet, in capital, Massachusetts' own Tommy Tallarico. Ooh, wow.
Oh my God.
Very exciting. So it's your chance to meet the legend himself. And we'll talk about the Slopes thing a bit later because Slopes asked him about the Boston event.
Yeah.
And he was being cryptic on it, saying he doesn't want to tell people because of potentials or whatnot, which I found a bit odd because if I assume these threats are happening, why wouldn't you contact the police if that's the case? Because if someone's making bomb threats or whatever, I'm not sure if it was bomb threats, but violent threats, you'd think they'd get them involved. And you wouldn't stop, your promoting of your product just because some weird crazies online are threatening you.
Right.
So he wouldn't give Slopes details. So he did give 72 hours notice for people to come to 2 different places.
That's a little better.
A little better, but it didn't really get much traction. I looked on Twitter and on Facebook because the stores had posted it, and there's only 1 or 2 people commenting or liking, so get that much traction.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first event has already happened, and there's a few pictures. You have not seen these pictures yet?
No, these are all fresh to me.
We'll go to the first one. Hopefully it goes to it. Look what we have here. Do you recognize any of the folks here? Do you know who this guy is?
Yeah, I do.
We have the Atari Creep.
Atari Creep.
I believe this might be his wife.
Yeah.
We have Tommy.
Uh-huh.
Do you know who this guy is?
That looks like DJC.
We have DJC. You recognize this?
Is that Panda
fella?
Sub?
That is the Panda Man.
Yep. See.
So we have
now 2 months ago, I would not have been able to tell you who these people were, but now I can spot them from their backs.
So as you can see, there's not the largest crowd of folks here,
and the shills are there in force.
The shills are outnumbering the normal folk.
I like some of those posters back there, though.
You like the posters?
That Kirby one's cool. I like the Splatoon one. I actually like Splatoon. I don't know, people have shit on it because I guess maybe it's too kiddish, but I think it's a fun game.
Well, it's good for kids, I think.
It's a different type of shooter, It's instead of just gunning down the same people, you're trying to get the maximum number of paint on the board, and you
blob your goo everywhere.
yeah, exactly. It's a fun game, but I haven't bought the new one. I just played it on the Wii U.
So go to the next one. There's not a whole lot of pictures because there's not much going on at the event.
Atari Creep gut.
We have Atari Creep. We have a YouTuber here, I believe, Tony's little friend.
Who's that?
I don't know who this guy is, so I'm guessing he's just a customer.
He's a planted investor.
What's the odds that somebody has a Intellivision Amico shirt?
Oh, gee.
And we have Tommy.
Of course.
So it's looking a little empty back there.
A little bit.
And then...
That's nobody there, dude. That's like... Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this is his wife.
Yes.
And one thing we noticed, though, or I noticed... Look what we got there, LED lights.
Nice.
And do you notice anything else weird with this picture? I'll circle it. There's something here. There's something here. Something here.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
One of these does not belong. Yeah.
Our friend, once again.
Well, he's a celebrity, so his germs won't matter. Like we're just peasants. So we have to wear a mask.
Mr. 804 says, every time you spot an Amico shirt, do a shot.
Let's do it.
That's a better idea than the every time you hear Tommy say, do a shot.
You would be on the floor. You'd be on the fucking floor out. You know.
Just going to go. I have not read the comments. He's a Yankees fan, though.
Yeah, that's his problem.
So that's kind of why I like the logo I picked for this stream where he's photoshopped in a Red Sox.
Yes.
Jersey. Did you ever see on his webpage how Tommy paid to go to some New York Yankees fancy
Yes, and then he's got pictures up there. And literally, like if you didn't know any better, you would think, "Oh, Tommy was a minor league player." You know, like the way he's got him. Like it's a really. I went there one day, and just to look at all of these pictures of him. I mean, he is so full of himself. I've never seen anything like it. Just somebody's. I mean, I guess if I never really probably go to a celebrity, probably has tons of headshots and things of themselves too. But it's just he just sees himself as a celebrity,
as a legend or superstar. The amazing Boston event, so many masked people and fun times.
Yeah.
Didn't realize how many comments we had. This is pretty good. Australians love Canadians. We share the same sense of humor. Americans don't get scarcasm.
Scarcasm. I don't know what scarcasm is, but I do get sarcasm.
I think a lot of you guys.
You guys definitely have a drier, sarcastic sense of humor, but I pick up on it. Not everybody can though. You're right. There's a lot of dumbass Americans. Hey, Mike.
And Ren of Heavens thinks it's cringe. It is pretty cringe.
Yes. Yes.
And like I asked the store's Twitter and their webpage and stuff, and they hold events there. So they have a tournament sometimes for Smash Brothers and other games, and the place does get packed. So
I know
it really shows that. Go ahead.
I know the second. I'm pretty sure Atari Creep said the second venue they went to was like somebody he went to high school with. Is this the first venue or the second?
This is the first one.
This is the first. Okay.
So he says he doesn't see the controllers directly connected like last time, so that's good. Maybe they fixed the battery connection issue.
Well, this is probably the first 5 minutes of the presentation. We haven't had a chance to see him yet. Well, I bet you by the end we see a connected controller.
There's a fan with Tommy.
He's masked.
He was masked also.
That makes me wonder if the store policy is then you have to wear a mask. Because at this point, I go out in a lot of retail places and not everybody's wearing masks. You know, like not nowhere near like they were.
I believe the store has a policy for it.
So that's even worse. Yeah, he's just not following it. Like it's one
I don't
thing
want to
if
confirm or not because I
but just to see everybody wearing a mask now. When I go out to the store now, I don't see anyone hardly wearing masks like that. At least where I live is like they used to.
Like in the stores or just outside in general?
In the stores, even.
Oh wow! Our
so.
Where I live, it's mandatory. So
is it?
If Tommy was to do this and the store allowed him, the store would get fined, I think $5,000 first warning.
Yeah, you guys are definitely more strict.
And then I think because there's a couple of restaurants around here that's rebelling.
Well, sure.
And
Yeah.
There's one restaurant that isn't following the rules, and I think they're up to 100,000 in fines. Something like that.
Shit!
Just because they don't want to. Follow the rules.
That's gonna crush them because restaurants have very thin margins.
Well, it's not even just that. It's just because it gets in the public too, and then most people are gonna not go to the restaurant because they think the owners are douchebags. So,
right.
Hey, look who's at the event.
My jaw hit the floor.
I don't know. I don't want to rip on people, but anyone find it weird that he has his the
own merch, his merch.
I don't know.
That's like wearing the shirt of the artist you go to see. I always thought that was cringy.
And then here's some pictures I took from Saggy's live stream. I didn't want to bring the whole video just because
that's Evil Knievel.
The video really doesn't have a whole lot in it. It's half an hour long if people want to watch it, but it's the same games. There's Evil Knievel. I just thought it was funny because they have skin on the controller itself, and it is not. The LED light is on. LED's on here, so there's some progress. The other game they featured was Missile Command, which I think maybe it shows better than Astro Smash. I'm not too sure. They look so similar. Like if I was just an average person, I would think this is Astro. Like these two games are the same,
right?
And,
but Missile Command is a far superior game to Astro Smash, though.
It is, but would you say this version is?
No, not this
4
one. I'm
people
saying the original. Like, because I was talking about the original Astro Smash. This, I don't know. I mean, what is it? There's 3 people, or can it be up to 4 people? Or can it?
It's up to 4 people, and the problem they've had is that it gets too cluttered, the screen.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
There's so much stuff on the screen happening at once, and maybe it's okay for people like you and I who play tons of video games, but the noobs, I think it'd just be overwhelming.
With that, plus like the blinking LED lights and whatever crap is going on your screen, like it's going to be sensory overload.
It's yeah, I don't know. It didn't show really well before because they've shown it, I think, over a year ago, and I didn't find it showing. Really
I don't
well.
remember that one. I don't remember seeing that gameplay. I'll have to look at that. Vera Dark was the lady Mike said.
Apparently, she's a big YouTuber.
I've never heard of her, but
I think she interviewed Tommy in the past.
Of course.
And by big, I'm not sure how big. Let's take a look. I don't think she's in the millions or anything, is she? Let's take a look.
No way.
46,000 subscribers. Nah, that's not that I have a lot, but so that's just the first part of the event. The good news is there's a second event happening tonight.
Yes. Oh, that's right. It's tonight. What was I thinking? Of course, that was the first one.
We have a friend who's going to be visiting it. And this is going to be... See if I can bring up video.
I got here a couple hours early. I'm at the Great Stories in Uxbridge, Mass. Waiting for the boys to show up from Walham, Mass, an hour away. Waiting for the boys to show up here.
Nice.
So we can play some
I'm
Amico.
glad he was able to get in there.
Old building.
His opinion, I'll actually have more
held here.
faith in.
So that's it. I'm here, boys. 5 o'clock.
He's early
Game
too.
time.
That's hilarious.
I love that guy's voice.
Yeah, he does. He's got a great voice.
So we have a friend of the show who'll be going. That'll be interesting. I am very anxious to see what he has to say with it because I think he'll give an honest take.
Absolutely.
And not be persuaded or what's the word? Swayed.
Hypnotized by Tommy.
So what do you think of them doing events like this?
I mean, I thought, that originally I felt like it was a good thing, for them to get out there and really push the Amico, but these events are so small and such short notice that it's not really, I don't think, doing a whole lot for them. I mean, it'd be one thing if they would show up at some like a game convention or something, but I don't know, man. Like, I like the idea of them going out and talking about it and showing it, but I think they're going about it the wrong way.
I think where they're targeting is just too small. These little stores, and from what I understood, and I could be totally wrong on this, so don't hold it against me.
Okay.
Saggy and Atari Creep were the ones who mostly set up these spots for Tommy.
Well, sure, yeah.
And I think it's Atari Creep who may have done it. And if you looked at the video, the pictures, there's nobody else from the Intellivision company. It's just Tommy by himself with Panda Man and DJC and Saggy and Atari Creep, and I think the other guy was the Lazy Gamer. I don't really know. I don't know who he is, but it's another guy. And for me, I heard this on another stream. I think it was Raya who said it, but I don't understand why they don't have these units going to a lot of different places with just like a rep. Yeah, it doesn't have to be Tommy himself, just a rep, maybe
just
2 reps.
Somebody to casually show it off and not like ramble.
So you contract somebody out, all the different cities like Boston, New York, all the big cities, and do the small events like this without Tommy. And that's not that's not too hard. It should be fairly cheap, probably free, just except paying for the contractor. But to me, it doesn't make sense like why Tommy has to come out and do this.
I think he just likes the spotlight.
Do you think he likes the spotlight, or he's just too afraid to give the control to somebody else?
Yes, that too, definitely.
Because then he can't sell them, or
he has to be in control.
Because
in these small venues with him there, he has total control. I mean, obviously, look, everyone's wearing masks and he's not.
Yeah, that too.
Like if that is truly the store policy, then it's like he's literally in control there. Like, no, I'm not wearing a mask. Okay, sir.
I'm kind of a big deal, so I don't need a mask.
Yeah, exactly.
My idea of what he should have done is hit the large conventions, because I assume across the states those are opening up again. They're opening up here.
Yes.
And I watched a video with Metal Jesus Rocks this past week.
Mm-hmm.
He went to Hartford, Connecticut, which is somewhat nearby that general area. And they had a big convention. And a whole lot of people there. I have a picture of the event.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I can get it there. Should show up. This is just a screen cap from this thing. And I would think would make sense would be for them to rent a little booth like the size of this.
Absolutely.
Have John, have Tommy, video guy, whatever his name is, one other person, have 2 or 3 of them set up. Look at the amount of foot traffic. And
I know. Actual people that are interested in your product, not just some random showing at a game store that you advertise online. Like people are not just going to be bunch of people are not just going to be coming in that store. This is where people actually come to see new stuff, learn about things, buy things,
Yeah, it's mostly I assume mostly hardcore gamers, but that's his target audience, despite what he says. Even if he still wants to go with the narrative that he wants, the family, like non-gamers, the moms and all that, there is conventions just like this for for products, for toys,
new products,
parents and stuff, and that would be even better. I think that'd probably be even more smart idea than this, where you get a little booth, doesn't cost that much, it's very cheap, and just show it off there and give out pamphlets or whatever, I don't know. And I assume he didn't want to come to this one in Hartford because Pat was there from Pat.
Oh, of course.
And there's a couple other, and what's their name? Destiny FOMO was there.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about that in a bit. So it's not a safe space for him. That's why I assume he doesn't go to these big places.
Right.
But I think this would be a better idea than...
He might be a small fish in a big pond there. But he's a big fish in a small pond at these other places.
Well, he started off like the first announcement was at wasn't at a retro convention in Portland. I think that was the first time he announced it. So
right.
I believe he was supposed to be on a panel, and he just hijacked the panel and and just talked about his new product.
Oh my gosh.
Silly old Tommy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't have a whole lot more from the thing today, but overwhelming success? No.
Of the Boston event? No, it looks like nobody was there. I wish we had more footage, but...
Well, if you want, you can go to Saggy's channel. It's extremely grainy.
It probably doesn't
just
show
standing
anything,
around.
Right? Yeah, probably the same amount of people standing around, right?
It's just the same people. They showed no new games, no cornhole and stuff. I thought they were going to show cornhole.
So basically, this was a setup for Atari Creep to get to play it.
I guess so. And Panda Man, I don't know where he's from, but he flew in. Which,
yeah, he wasn't there last time, right?
I just find it very odd. Maybe it's just me because I don't think the same way, but usually when my friends and, well, not even myself, because now I'm married with kids, I can't just fly off to go do stuff. But
sure, when
they select, to go fly somewhere and spend a weekend somewhere, usually it's like a Vegas or something. It's usually for like a big event, a big football game, or
exactly
they fly out to
something cool,
playoffs somewhere, football or baseball or concert, something.
Exactly.
And, they're going to invest like their weekend and all the travel money. I just can't bring myself to understand why you would pay for a plane ticket, hotel room, spend 3-4 days just to play those games? Like, do you understand? I don't.
Nah. No, I don't. I mean, I guess they could say, well, it's for my YouTube channel, but yeah, no, sure. I mean, it's the last place I would want to take my vacation. Like I said, I would go play it if it was a 2-hour drive, but yeah, no, Boston's like a 10-hour drive for me. Or yeah, a plane ticket to go see that. There's no way.
And hotel room and
food and
associated costs. Like I've had friends there, like my nerdy coworkers and friends in the past fly to go to E3 or giant Comic-Cons.
Yes.
And I can understand that because, E3 is massive.
Yes, it's a destination thing. It's something to do. Yeah. But yeah, go play the Amico that's going to be in a random game store for a couple hours, and that's your vacation. Like,
well, also the opportunity to hang out with Tommy T.
Oh, sure. See, that's why he had to have his mask off, so you could get the full Tommy experience that you paid for.
Mike Garcia says Panda had to step up. He couldn't be the only shield that hasn't played it.
That's true.
Maybe he's going for a job interview. Maybe.
Maybe.
If not, if they have any more money, they should pay that guy. He's good. He's good at producing videos.
Exactly. He should be one doing it for them.
Anthony Fax says, if the target demographic is soccer moms and kids, maybe they should demo things at Macy's or Bed Bath & Beyond. That's the way to go to get pre-orders, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that thing being sold at Bed Bath & Beyond. Definitely.
I can't. I see. Sadly, the only place I can see it is like liquidation places. Like every city has those liquidation places.
Yes.
Where it's on a pallet and the boxes are all crumbled up.
That's gonna be what it's gonna be, man. That's when I'll get mine for $50. That's
what happened to the Leapfrog. It was $130, I think, and then it dropped to $99. Then at the Big Lots or whatever it's called, it was like $49. The games for only like $2.
Imagine if that is where it ends up. That's just a sad. And Tommy's like still there, like trying to push it and sell it. Like,
oh man,
hey, have you tried this new game system? It's state of the art. Next big thing.
You just tap the card.
Mm-hmm. So is he going to be live streaming, Ben? Is he going to be live streaming from there? Or
I don't know if he's going to live stream. I'd imagine
that
not,
would be
but
awesome
he'll have his impressions afterwards. I'd imagine he'll have stuff on his channel afterwards.
What time does that night one start? Was it at 7?
I think it was at 5.
Or 5, or starts at 5. That's right.
So it probably starts in 20 minutes or so. So Hammock guy, next topic. Unless you have anything else on the Boston thing.
No, I really don't. I wish we had some more pictures and footage we could talk about in the show. But yeah, there's just so little out there right now. So
it's the same games they showed. There's no new secret games. We did get news. I'm not sure if you heard this of the first deep dive gameplay that they're going to be showing soon.
Yes, it's supposed to be here in the next 7 to 10 days. I thought he said. Is that correct or?
Correct. Do you know what game that was?
Oh, it was. They voted on it, right? It was. Oh gosh, what game was it? I don't remember.
It's Battle Tanks.
Yes, Battle Tanks. That's right. I hadn't really. That game kind of was under my radar. I hadn't really heard much about it, but
it's.
I mean, I know the game. I know the original game, but this one.
They have a Battle Tanks game in the Clubhouse 51 games for the Switch.
Right.
It's pretty much the same game. I've played it. It's fun for a few minutes, then it gets boring.
Yeah.
Just like everything else, it's a fun little diversion, but
I was thinking about that the other day. I think it might have been yesterday, like about the Amico. These kids, sure, they're gonna play it and they might like it here a little bit, but I can't tell you they're gonna get bored super quick unless these games are coming out fairly regularly. Like a kid today is not going to keep coming back to Astro Smash over and over and over again. Like they need more. Like kids just don't have the same patience that we had for games like that when we were younger. You'd play Pac-Man over and over again or Donkey Kong over and over again. But like today's kids, they're going to get really bored really fast.
Omar said he said 7 days, and in the same breath changed it to 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The way I think of things is Mario Party has lots of fun mini games, and the kids love playing the Mario Party mini games. But if you're to give them just one of the mini games and told them,
exactly,
you're playing that for a full night, just that one mini game, it's not gonna go over well.
Mario Party is brilliant, yes, because it's like there's the overall gameplay of trying to get through the board, so there's more to it. And yeah, you get these little mini games in short bursts that are fun, but that's what the system is. It's like mini games.
It's full of mini games that and it's not even mini games that are child friendly, I would say. So, well, some are, but most of them are for old men.
Yeah.
There's no appeal. There's no cartoonish appeal or anything.
No, exactly.
So I like how Mr. 804 says, major gameplay with the Amico deep dive. Watch the tank turn left and right. Oh, and it can shoot.
It can shoot.
Amazing.
Yeah.
There's not much. Like what can they show? You know what number 2 was on that pool?
The Astro Smash, wasn't it?
Astro Smash. Yeah.
Like, what the hell? Like, I don't get that. That poll was weird.
Well, it was on the Facebook private group that no one can join. You have to be a member to join, or you get invited. So it's a safe space.
Really?
And I can't remember if 3 was pool. Something, I think it was pool afterwards. Intellivision pool. Like, how much of a deep dive can you do?
Yeah, nothing. I mean, sure, I used to like playing the pool game on, I think AOL had it, right? Didn't AOL have just like a random pool game you could play? And I spent time playing that. But that was just like time waster while I was sitting at a computer. Not an actual game that you would turn on a console and play with your friends.
It's a time filler.
Exactly. It's like playing a game of solitaire or something, Not a $250 dedicated console.
So I don't really have much else about this Boston event. I was wanting to talk about our friend DJ Slopes in his interview with Tommy. And I had put a video up where every single time Tommy, who I thought he was lying, would say, And I was watching the stream when it was first uploaded on DJ Slopes, and in the chat, people are saying, and I start picking up on it. So I thought, hey, this would be a good idea to make a video where, Each time he says, you pull it out and clip it together. I thought, hey, this won't be too bad. Like, maybe it says it 50 to 60 times. I started doing it. And I did the first part of his interview where he's just talking about his personal life and non-Amico stuff. And it wasn't too bad at the beginning because he was just recalling being a kid. But then when he starts talking about himself, and we'll go into this in a bit, he just couldn't stop. Like, 2 seconds later, 2 seconds later, Yeah, like, holy shit, this is starting to really add on. Like, this is taking longer than I thought.
It is.
And then it wasn't too bad. Then the second part, that's the interview that you saw where he's talking about the system. Holy shit. I was like, I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. But I've already committed so much time into making this video.
Yeah.
Because it was just nonstop. But it was fascinating to me, though, because when I first watched the stream, I just tune out Tommy and just ignore what he says. And it's kind of because he's going through the same shtick, and you just kind of zone out. But when you actually pay attention, it's pretty sad. And you can see a direct correlation of when he's starting to exaggerate or make flat out lies to a point where it's just unbelievable.
Well, you talked about like him scratching his face, too.
Yeah,
like,
that's the other tells. He'll grab his elbows or he's pulling on his ear, and just the body language. He does a very poor job of disguising when he's lying.
And I told you, we were talking before we started streaming, the one that I was talking about where it's like at the end of the sentence, Carl, at the end of the sentence, he goes up. He's like, or yeah. Like his tone of his voice or his pitch goes up. And I think that's another tell too.
And it's pretty obvious though, because like when I was watching the video and he's just talking about his childhood, playing games with his dad.
He wasn't there because it was speaking honest. He was being truthful.
You can tell he's speaking honest, and there's a flow. He's not thinking. And I'd asked some of my police friends about people lying, and I've learned a little bit about this, and a lot of people know about that. Where people's when their eyes are looking a certain direction, they're thinking, or else they're making up lies. And I asked about and is a very common filler word for when people are trying to come up with lies, mostly to like get themselves out of trouble or other people out of trouble. So it's a very common. This isn't uncommon. It's pretty common. And the mixture of him scratching his ears and just if you actually listen to the story he's telling, following him, going, is just so far fetched that it's very obvious that he's adding extras to a story or just totally making it up.
And going back and watching it again because I told you I was going to try to watch more of this interview and I could only get through like another 45 minutes. I couldn't deal with it. Every day I was putting it off, wanting to watch it, but I was like, man, I got to watch some more before we start this. And with every answer that he does, somehow he weaves it back into, well, he doesn't want to say or do this because people are going to call him a liar.
The haters,
because it's like that's how it is. It's like he starts to realize he's like, even maybe in his own mind, he's like realizing that the stuff he's saying is bullshit, and they're going to take this out of context. Well, I don't want to say this, or I can't say this because they're going to call me a liar.
Yeah,
I
did notice because at first I was all mad at Slopes because I like Slopes' channel, his main channel.
Sure.
Because I feel like he's, and maybe silly, just feel like he's like turning his back on his integrity and his fans by shilling for Amico. And I was like, this guy's a jerk.
He does the scam videos, right?
Yeah, they're good. Like he goes deep dives
I've seen a couple of them.
A ton of them. So he's covered all the other ones. He's well aware. This isn't a guy who's like, I'm just not into the scene. I'm just taking his word for at face value.
Yes,
he is fully aware. So that's why I was very disappointed. And over the last 6 months, I've noticed him commenting in some pro Amico videos, and I'd commented like, "You do realize this isn't like look into it, watch the Pat Ian videos." And he's like, "No, seriously, I'm into this. I'm really interested." And so I was pretty upset with like that he didn't fully grill Tommy or anything. Right. But when I rewatched the video, I will have to cut him some slack because he tried just to do a basic interview, and I couldn't believe how many times Tommy derailed just a basic question into pure negativity of just what you just said. He'll just circle and start talking about the haters. And Slopes, all he asks is like, what can you tell us about the game? And then he'll just go off on a tangent about haters. And so throughout that whole interview, Tommy Bing, was the one who brought up all the negativity throughout the whole 3-4 hours. It's just him bringing up negativity over and over and over again. As the CEO, maybe you want to address some of it, but you should no sell it. You should not be. Well, here's my brand new console. By the way, the haters say this, the haters say that.
Yeah.
They call me a liar. This is, they're just jealous. Misinformation. And then I had that little bit of my video at the end. Misinformation.
Yes.
And he's the one bringing that up. It's just really odd.
He's consumed by it. That's what I noticed is it's like, and he at the beginning of the little bit that I watched of the first part of the interview, he talked about being a super sleeper. And he only needs 3 to 4 hours a night of sleep. And he looks like a man who is like, that's what he's doing. He's just sleeping 3 or 4 hours a night and is just like consumed by criticism and any of the hate. And it comes out in this interview, like you said. I mean, it's every single time, whatever comment. And that's what some of the things I was writing down, like every single time I noticed that too. He has to weave it back in with, well, the haters did this, or we can't do this, or they're going to say this. And it's sad. It's sad. Like, he's crazy.
Maybe we'll go over I have my boomer notes, and I'm going to ask you your thoughts on a few things. Well, a few things. There'll be quite a bit of things.
Sure.
Since you said you didn't see the first part of the interview.
I couldn't do it, man. I just couldn't get through it.
It's silly, and I got my boomer notes here.
Yes,
and we're not going to go over every single thing he said because it would take 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
I just picked out a few highlights that are just silly. So Tommy always likes to, and he said the story numerous times, that he just wants to make it seem like he came from, rags to riches and
right.
Determination and all this stuff. Tommy talks about going to high school, and he doesn't talk about his university days, but he talks about how he moved across the country, with the stick, like a homeless type person, a stick with the bag at the end of the stick, and had nothing in his pockets, and he went across country as if, and his family were, no, don't leave. Tommy went to a private high school, so he wasn't like from, a poor family. He went to university, and I highly doubt, I don't know what his parents did. Speculation, I don't know. We only know his cousin is the guy from Aerosmith. From what I understood,
Steven Tyler.
Yeah, you mean Tallarico?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that his family wouldn't let him go across country with no money.
Yeah, I know.
And his story, he says, he moved across the country with no money.
I heard this story too.
Living homeless under a pier. And then the first day he was there, he saw a newspaper article for a job opening at a music store.
Guitar Center.
So then he went there and he got hired on the spot.
Of course.
Second day in California, he's already at his new job. I'm like, this is the most efficient retail store I've ever seen in my life. Like, no background check, not that they do background check, but like no paperwork or setting him up and getting him a uniform or whatever. It's like within hours he's working there.
They're literally pulling people off the street.
So his first customer that walks through the door on his first shift is Seth Mendelson from Virgin Games. What's the odds?
Yeah, I know.
And Seth sees that Tommy is wearing a TurboGrafx 16 shirt and strikes up a conversation with Tommy because TurboGrafx 16 was so niche and he had a shirt. He gets offered a job on the spot to go be a video game tester for Virgin. On his first shift, first customer.
Yeah.
First thing right at the beginning, they offer him a job, and that's how he starts Virgin. I'm like, well, and this. I'm not going to go through play the video clips, but this is where starts picking up. So, what do you think the odds are that you travel across the country, find a job, and start within, I don't know, not even 24 hours, probably within 12 hours? Where's he living at this time? He's still in his car?
He said something. I thought he said he was living under the docks or something, didn't he? I mean, this is. I'll be honest. This was the end of the listening to that part of the interview when he was talking about what the scenario that you just laid down, what happened, how he gets a job immediately on the first day. No, and I thought the same thing. Like they're literally just hiring people off the streets, just pulling them out from under wherever he was. He said, I'm pretty sure he said he stayed under a dock or something. And
Tommy Amico just got back from a kid's birthday party. What did I miss? None of the kids were talking about Evel Knievel, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Tommy didn't miss a whole lot. We went over the Boston event. Not many people there at all. Pretty much nobody. And nothing exciting from it. We do have somebody, Ben Silverpong, who will be at the event tonight. So that'll be interesting. Now we're just talking about the Slopes interview, and just a story like that just seems so far-fetched.
Yes.
That, his family wouldn't give him money. It's like, oh, here's, $5,000 or something. I don't know.
You know what it sounds like?
Stay at a hotel.
It sounds like one of those. I don't know if you ever read any of being in Canada, any of the tall tales, like Paul Bunyan or something like that. Like the story is just so unbelievable. Like that's how Tommy is. It's like he thinks it's like that story is like something you would have in like the cringiest movie that you would watch on like Lifetime channel or something.
Can you read this comment?
I think the store owner called Virgin Games to come in and hire him to get rid of him. That would be the only explanation. They're like,
that's
dude,
awesome.
This guy just showed up and we said we would get back to him, and he literally just came in the next day ready to work We have no idea. We just want to get him out of our store. Can you please
just
come?
Won't go away.
Please come hire him.
Okay, so the next part was actually the super sleeper part. He talks about that.
Then maybe I did hear that part. That maybe that was the end. I know I couldn't get through 15
He says
minutes.
he's so amped up on so much adrenaline and that is why he's a super sleeper. Like he's always up at night. He's just so, so gung ho to, take on the world. And the quote, he says, by the time he was 30, he only slept 5 years. He only had 5 years of sleep rather than 10, which most normal people had because he's superhuman.
Right.
And he explains that he's never done drugs and he's never done cocaine and he's never tried alcohol. I can't remember how he called
that's
it.
What he said. I said that in my video. I said that in my video that he's never tried alcohol. Like that sounds like something a child would say. Like it's like I've never,
it's really funny,
never drank alcohol.
I think it was alcohol. He said or something.
Alcohol.
And,
yeah, I said in my video. I think the dude just needs to smoke some weed and chill out.
And my opinion is I'm calling BS on that one also.
Yeah,
and I've actually met someone kind of similar to Tommy. Some guy I work with, who is super socially awkward, and he likes to pretend that he has something special about him all the time. Like he has superpowers. Make him stand out different from other people. And this guy's funny though. The guy I work with, he said he could see infrared. I couldn't stop laughing. Like you can't see infrared, and started shooting a remote at him and whatnot. But it's just there's some people who just try so hard to be like, I'm different. I'm a super sleeper. Only 1%. I'm special. Like that's what I think he's doing. And from like myself, I sleep like 4 or 5 hours a night, and not because I'm a super sleeper or a superhuman, it's just because I'm an idiot and I play video games till late hours of the night.
I'm a super sloth. I sleep like 9 hours of sleep a night at least. I need my sleep.
It's just a story like that. It makes him sound like a good story. It makes him seem like, oh, he's different from everyone else. He's special. That's why he's an awesome CEO. And if he has all that extra sleep, he doesn't extra 5 hours of sleep a night or 4 hours of sleep per night or whatever it is, or less sleep. Why, if he has all that extra time, why doesn't he have everything done for the Amico? Like, for example, they're supposed to have the FAQ updated like 2 weeks ago.
Where's that happening? I have been waiting for that. I'm like, did I miss that?
Or else, maybe he could spend those extra hours a night to learn what an RFID card is and everything.
No, he's spending those extra hours a night getting on to Atari Age or wherever and YouTube and getting in the comments and getting into fights with people. He's like, those extra hours, instead of being productive, are counterproductive for him. Like, he makes it worse. LMAO infrared. I'm vegan. I'm special. He talks about that too, the vegan thing. I remember.
Yeah, MIDI music says he spends his time on Atari Age. Do you think he's like? To me, maybe he does. Maybe he's a super sleeper. It does exist. I looked into it.
Well, he said that he said that it was people that instantly get into like that really good REM sleep. Like normally most people lay there for a couple hours until they finally hit that cycle. I guess Tommy somehow magically just instantly hits the portion of sleep that you need, and he can do it for 4 hours and wake up and be totally refreshed and fine.
Be the man.
Yeah.
Do you believe
the legend?
Do you believe he's a super sleeper?
Do I believe he's a super sleeper? No. I think he just got so much anxiety and everything. He just can't sleep.
That's probably true.
That long at night. And
I will also say this. He also doesn't have, I don't know his personal life. He has no kids. It appears that everyone else does the work for him, like the oof sound effect.
Yeah.
So if he has there's nothing to make him tired. Like I'm tired because I actually I pretend I work hard, but I watch my kids and stuff. I just get tired from doing stuff.
Well, that's the thing. That's the difference between,
And plus, I look at his house. Look at a mess. He doesn't even spend any time cleaning it. So
what is he doing?
Cleaning it.
He's online talking crap, making promises he can't keep, just trying to convince everyone and everything that he is the greatest of all time. And this is why the system is going to be amazing. And just starts blurting out whatever.
Let's talk about how Tommy lied about that Aladdin movie premiere.
Yeah,
then?
yeah.
Or we will. Hang on a sec. I'm not there yet.
I saw that.
The first lie is, what do you have?
I think he sincerely believes he's super.
This is true.
He does. It's
not a big deal.
It's like a placebo, like they give the placebo group the pill that doesn't work, but it actually helps because they believe that it's helping them.
And it's not a big deal if he is or not. It's just
no, I don't know.
These little things just add up. It's all these little things that add up. And
I don't know.
My next point here is a good one. So he says his first memory of playing the piano is sitting at a piano and the keys were at eye level with him. And he's looking to the left and right, and the keys are just so far, like the piano's so big that all he sees is the white and black into long distance. And then he puts his hands up and starts mashing the keys. And then he was getting frustrated because it was not making beautiful music. So he's saying this, and then he was so determined, to make beautiful music with his hands that by the time he was 4 or 5 years old, he was banging out Great Balls of Fire and Jailhouse Rock.
Mm-hmm.
And then his parents would bring everyone in the neighborhood to show off how he can play it. And I got a picture here. Hang on a second.
That was the beginning in his mind of him being the greatest. I mean, he was being showered with praise at such a young age. Like, you're such a prodigy. What a young little Mozart. So that's like the beginning of his belief of him being like a superhero.
Hang on. Share screen. So I got this from one of his biographies in the millions of different places it's online. It says he taught himself to play piano and guitar at the age of 10. So so that's not 4 or 5. He clearly says 4 or 5 in the video. And that's probably
better.
More. That's more
better
doable.
In that video.
9 and 10 is doable. Like
5 years old was what I believe Mozart was. He really young and playing, and he was considered like a child prodigy. So he's comparing himself basically to Mozart.
I went online to see if there was 4-year-olds playing piano, and there is quite a bit of Asian.
Yeah, sure.
Little kids I'm sure, in front of the piano every day, but.
I mean, maybe, maybe it would be believable, but you just showed it right there. I mean, it says, why would it say that he learned to play when he was 10? It's
after going to the symphony. I'm like, well, that makes sense. Like, there's a lot of kids who.
Sure.
It's more.
10
normal.
Is a reasonable age. It's like that's when they start to like want to try to do more things. Like when you're young like that, you just run around playing, being silly.
And if he was a fantastic piano player, I tried finding videos of him online playing piano. Could not.
Really? Because if they were there, they would be there, posted everywhere if they existed.
And you would think at Video Games Live, since the video game pianist, after he left, that Tommy would just take over, because that's a really good part of the show where they go through all the different Zelda tunes and the Mario tunes on the piano. Surely if he is a prodigy, he could play the exact same tunes, and he doesn't, so...
Yeah, that would be a great opportunity to show off his like musical prowess.
So not a big deal that he lies about it. Just these little things like this over and over.
It's another notch on the belt of lies. Another little notch.
And next part he talks about
these aren't smoking guns. We're just proving
no.
Here.
Just
shows
his character.
Point. Yes, exactly.
And he talks a little bit later about Steven Tyler, about his,
of course,
his cousin, and how his cousin was offering him to, get him into record labels and stuff. And Tommy said, "No, I want to do it on my own. I don't want your help." As if, like, I don't believe that.
He uses everybody around him and name drops everyone, so he takes advantage of all.
A dear friend of mine, like, as if why wouldn't you take advantage of your rock star cousin who
exactly,
top 10 rock stars at the time, at least.
Yeah, you could put Aerosmith up there as top 50 bands, top 25.
Well, especially during those times, during that time.
Yeah, they were huge.
So the next part is the Aladdin story that I had in my video.
Yes.
And it's not I just thought it was really funny. And I cut out a little bit of him talking about making the music for the game, because he goes off on tangents. This is what happened throughout the whole interview. Slopes asks a question. He's like, can you tell me how it was working on Aladdin? Well, my dear friend, blah, blah, blah. Starts talking about his friend, talking about how he got presents from Disney and this and that. And he just goes off in tangents. I'm like, Jesus Christ, just answer his question. Like, he just wants to know specifically.
Yeah.
And this happened throughout the whole interview. Slopes asks a question, and then 5 minutes later, he gets a response. Like a one-phrase response. Just seems really bizarre.
Yeah.
And did you see my video about the Aladdin part?
Yeah, I did. It was something about the premiere, or he was invited to the premiere, or was that what it was? Or I know the times didn't line up or something, that what he had said.
Maybe I can stream it on here. Stream my own video.
Yeah, why not?
Let's see if I got to share video. Then I can annoy everyone later with the you knows.
Yeah.
Today's video, I was. Where's the Aladdin part? I did like this part right here. Right at the beginning. It explains why people say you know. And the bottom part here, right there, I fully think that's the case with him.
The person is either nervous and trying to gain some kind of common ground or camaraderie with the person they are speaking with. But it could also be they are unsure of what they are talking about. Yeah. And seeking validation from the other person. Exactly. A form of self-soothing, a way to spot a liar. Yeah, that's what it is. He changes everything and to seek validation of the person that he's talking to. It's like he has to just be loved by everyone. And yeah, that's totally him.
The deadline was
at the beginning, and then
the deadline was we wanted it to come out with the release of the VHS tape that Christmas, because back in the day it would come out on the big screen, and then like a year later it would come out on VHS, and that was the big thing because everyone would buy the VHS for Christmas, and we had an ad. Disney wanted to put an ad for the video game, for the Genesis version, in the VHS tapes.
So what Tommy just said, I'll talk over myself there.
Right.
So basically, it makes sense. That's what happened. And if I looked at other interviews too, or things online, it was a tight deadline for Aladdin to make the game. So it was tight. They're trying to get it on time for the Christmas, because that especially in Genesis, Super Nintendo days, the Christmas, if you don't make Christmas, like, it tanks your company essentially, because that's where they sold. It's a little bit different now in gaming because games are more staggered in releases.
Mm-hmm.
Like now they'll have big games in March, April, but back then it's like if you don't have it for Christmas,
right,
you're screwed. Like you're not you're totally screwed. And
that's why they call it Black Friday, because that's when the companies actually start making it into the black.
Way or
scratch.
So right after that,
no, they were really great. I mean, I was getting the scores from the original composers, Tim Rice and the guys. So I would get their score.
Right here, he's just trying to come up with a more juicier story.
And again, this is, we were working on it before the movie was released. So let's be clear on that too. So so we were seeing the film before it was made. We went to the premiere. In fact, all of the people who worked on the game.
Notice on how many.
Did you see? Now he did this another time in another video. Did you see the video that I made where I did that, where I pulled out the "you knows" that he was saying?
Which one?
It's "Do you know Tommy Tallarico?" He did the same thing in another video, and I did that too, like where I pulled out the "you knows." You never saw that?
I probably have, but I have bad memory, so
right. And he did the same thing, and it was the same thing. It was just like and I understood like what you were saying. Like you went through and you heard them so many times, and he was just slipping them in. And sometimes they're real little, just like they're real quick.
Yep. Yeah. Like right here, I did cut out like 2 or 3 minutes because I didn't want to make the video super long.
Yeah.
Originally, I just wanted to make the video just him going, and nothing else.
No, that's what I liked about yours. That was better than mine because I only pulled out the knows, but you put in like some other funnier things that he was saying.
We'll play that later.
It went in well. It filled in good. I liked it.
knows and cut down this him and his. I don't know if it was released in the theaters. I thought there might be more.
This part right here. So yeah, it was debuted in November 25th, 1992.
Well, basically, just before that, the parts I didn't show was just him talking about how Disney loved them, and they liked them so much that they were sending Mike Dietz animation cells or something like that, and then they gave him special cells of the movie and invited him to the premiere, and that the Disney really liked them, just fluffing out how much they liked them. But he talks about how they saw the movie in development, like as it's being made. And I'm like, well, you didn't, because it already was released.
Yeah.
And I looked online, and it might even be in the Wikipedia. Mike Dietz, the animator, did work with the people from Disney. I think he flew out to meet the animators, and the animators, worked with them to do the animation in the game, which is true. And they did provide Tommy Tallarico the music from the movie to put into the game, which is true. But they weren't like side by side,
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Tommy
says, not to say as much.
Tommy said that they're sending them dailies, and from what I understood from animation and dailies is, like rough sketches of cartoons, like the really rough sketches, like just the basic, or is a storyboard maybe.
Yes,
he's making it seem like they're getting storyboards and they're working alongside, which is not true because the movie was well done and way in advance. I don't know when the movie actually was finished animated. I didn't look into it, but he it just tries to make it seem like Disney loved him so much that they brought him in and did extra things just because he's so cool.
I actually
too, they contracted him out, and that's about it. And they gave him assets, and there's not much more to it.
There's a part I mentioned looking at into the next video where he actually said something about Aladdin. There's a part where Slopes actually says, let's be honest, you're probably not going to get Aladdin. Like he's like, and Tommy's like, well, I mean to say that we haven't been talking to Disney for 3 years. Well, that would be false information. And then Slopes is like,
shut up.
Ooh. No, he's like, ooh, like you would say to like something that like you were talking to like a child that is like full of crap. You're like, oh, okay. Like he couldn't even in that one sentence where he said that, let's be honest, you're probably not going to get Aladdin. Well, actually, so yeah, it's just another instance of him.
Little Butt Foos. I'm not sure how you pronounce the last part. When Rhea starts explaining her thoughts, I'm always waiting for her to get to the point. Rhea is nice. That's why she takes longer, because she doesn't want to hurt feelings. I'm an ass, so I don't. That's why it takes longer, because she's considerate.
Yeah. Just instead of blurting it out, she's probably trying to set it up to where she doesn't offend somebody.
My friend Hammock guy, this is going long. Hopefully you have time. You're not in a rush anywhere?
No, man, I'm good.
I didn't think we'd be talking so much about the stuff, but it's funny. So
no, it's good, man. We're only an hour and 8 minutes in, so we can go another little while.
So next thing, they talk about Metroid Prime, and
yes,
he alludes to that. This is still the first part of the interview, like the first hour. He alludes to that, or Slopes alludes that he wants to get into it more later on in the interview, and this is the part where he gets into it. And if you watch the interview, Tommy talks about how Miyamoto first met him and doesn't go or Basically, Miyamoto meets him at E3 when he's showing Global Gladiators and said that in Tommy's word, that he really loved the music.
Mm-hmm.
And
that probably really happened.
And it really happened. He just tells the story, it flows. He doesn't go into tangents. I'm like, okay, this is probably real.
Mm-hmm.
So when they actually go about the controversy of him being credited into the game, That's where it gets pretty funny. That's where he starts really scratching. I think he pulls his ear. He starts pulling his ear and looking down, like like submissively looking down and whatnot.
It'd be like, could you imagine Tommy trying to play poker? Like his poker face, he'd be like, "Oh, twitching," and like, I bid this.
It's like, okay, I'm all in now.
Yeah, exactly, all in. He's got the worst poker tell.
So a couple of points I wrote down in my notes here is the only thing he doesn't. Slopes asks him, "What did you do in the game?" Like he just outright asks him, and of course it goes into a wild tangent. And he eventually brings up that the sound designer had emailed him asking for higher quality versions of the audio for the visor and some other things. I think he said guns. And first of all, that doesn't really make sense because usually, and especially someone like Nintendo, I would strongly believe that anything that's created for the game would be left with the company, like with Nintendo or Retro. They wouldn't. Like it does not make sense that they would have. Yeah, they paid them to do that because I do computer stuff, and I've done contract work. Everything
they own the rights to your stuff.
I give them absolutely everything. Yeah. I don't keep like, the high quality stuff is here, and you just get the finished product here. Like everything would be in house.
Yeah.
So he at one point says he wasn't sure if his contract was up or if his contract was either a 3-year deal or he only had to provide a certain amount of sound effects. I'm like, that seems weird that he wouldn't know that when he got hired to do Metroid Prime, if he's only supposed to do 20 sound effects or 100 or whatever.
Yeah, I think.
Or 3 years, like you think you would know.
On a property like Prime, Nintendo would be pretty clear on what they want on Metroid. They would be pretty clear on what their expectations are.
And as we know, he's not in the credits, and his only proof that he has is one time he posted an email on his webpage. I think it was on his webpage, but it wasn't like he did a screenshot of the email. He copied and pasted the email, so he could have just typed the email himself, and that's his only proof. And it's also on a fan Wikipedia site.
The email is,
yeah, or no, that he did the sound effects in the game. And Tommy said, "Well, when I, they went through 4 different designs, and by the end, the producers of the final product didn't even know he was involved with the original game, and that doesn't seem to jive to me." And I have a picture here. I came prepared. A lot of pictures today.
Good.
Apparently,
I like the slideshow.
Let me find the picture. He's always insisted. Tony's always said that he got fired, which I believe. Because that makes more sense.
Right.
Let's see if we have the picture. Oh, I hope I have the picture. Share screen. From IGN from a long time ago. So originally at Space World 2000, Nintendo showed 10 seconds of Metroid Prime on an FMV, so just a video.
Mm-hmm.
At E3, they saw 15 seconds of the FMV using pre-renders using the in-game models. And now at Space World 2001, presumably the biggest unveiling of the game, we get 2 new seconds of the game, this time running in real time. So what gives? Is there a playable product somewhere? These limited showings, and will we ever see it? Nintendo's designer Shigeru Miyamoto fills in the gaps of the situation below. What I can tell you about Metroid Prime is that for Nintendo, the development is working pretty well so that we are overseeing the stage of fine-tuning and finishing touches. As a matter of fact, we are about to present Metroid Prime to the Space World 2001 show, but it doesn't yet have good enough sound effects. Right there.
He did the sound effects for this trailer.
Yep. Right there. First reason why they didn't want to show it. It doesn't yet have good enough sound effects.
Yes.
And I also was not fully satisfied with the controls. So I decided in the end, just a few days ago, that we would not bring it to the Space World show. Instead, I was thinking about showing video footage of Metroid Prime. Actually, the videotape is in my bag, but the guy sitting next to me here said if we showed the Metroid video, the whole meeting would be occupied with it, meaning laughs. They'd be all laughing at it. So he discouraged me to do it. We are on the right track, and we'll be ready to launch within 1 year from now.
Wow.
That is Tommy's work right there. He didn't do the sound. The sound was done in, I believe, Japan.
Oh, sure.
And,
so they literally
music.
They just probably literally hired somebody, just like some company. We need some sound effects for this, just for a random trailer. Like they had nothing to do with the game.
From my understanding, with Retro, like the game was not progressing well. That's why they canceled the other games that Retro was working on, so they can focus on Metroid Prime.
Yeah.
And the reason why they didn't show it at the big Space World, which is like the big show back in the day, is because the sound effects, as it says right there from Miyamoto's mouth, his best friend wasn't good enough. Like, how many times have you seen a game delayed because sound effects? Like, usually it's like for frame rates or engines or graphics or gameplay. Sound effects was the first thing he said.
Yeah, that's him right there. He's the sound guy. That sounds like a firing to me.
And so what had happened is, from what I understood, they trashed what they had. Then Metroid Prime was kind of in development hell because of that, because they'd already spent a year or two working on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when Retro, right after that, Space World is when they canceled the other projects and then had everyone focused on Metroid Prime. So the final end of the game, if anything, if we're to believe our friend Tommy, is that he did the visor sound effect and maybe a gun. Mm-hmm. Yet he credits himself as being part of the game. So to me, that just seems lame. Like, taking credit for that, I don't know.
Well, it looks good on his web page or his website, like his accomplishments. It's just another notch in that, showing that he is the greatest.
Front and center, it's always there, like Metroid Prime, or even on the interview, on Slope's thing at the bottom, it's like Metroid Prime. Like, he has barely any involvement at all.
Well, the oof sound, right there, you know. Thing. I mean, it's just another thing. There's another part where I talk about later in the interview, and I'm thinking about this, where it's like Tommy says he's not arrogant, and he says, I'm not arrogant. I have a positive mental attitude. That's different than being arrogant. And I just thought it'd be fun to look up what the exact definition of arrogant is. And it says having or revealing an exaggerated sense of one's own importance or abilities. Having an exaggerated sense of one's own importance or abilities. I mean, who does that sound like? I mean, literally what you're talking about. Like he contributed more to Metroid Prime. He made the oof sound. Like, these are exaggerated importance. That's arrogance.
It is big time.
And he says he's not arrogant. He literally says it.
I also noticed that his apologies throughout.
What did he say? Let's never forget that Tommy is the guy who from the beginning wanted to use the death of his sister to sell the foot bath.
Which is true.
Yeah. I'm not touching that one, but
no,
it is true.
The last part of the last thing from the first part of the interview was Slopes gets excited about Tony Hawk because he's involved with Tony Hawk, the first one.
Yeah, I remember.
Pro Skater.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, what did you do in the game? Like, because the soundtrack is iconic, which it was. It was especially in its time.
One of the best parts of that game.
Who put Goldfinger in it? And Tommy does, it's a committee. We did it by a committee because I'm more of a heavy metal guy, not a punk rock guy or punk indie.
I've seen Goldfinger live. They're awesome.
So I think at certain times, not just in this interview and other ones, he won't brag about doing stuff because I think the people on the team who really did it would call him out on it.
Like, he's got to be careful.
Say things. So for Tony Hawk, he skirted around, what he provided. Because Slopes is all excited. He's like, oh, Tony Hawk, the soundtrack. Which songs did you give,
No, the sound effects probably.
He's like, well, and he talks about how he did the sound effect of when the guy wipes out on the board. He goes, ugh, ugh, oof. And I'm like, well, that's not very exciting compared to, providing those awesome tunes.
Yeah.
So part 2, geez, that took a long time for part 1. And I'll try to go a little faster for this part 2 here. He starts off by saying people use the words and twist them against them, and says that they're not Sony, Microsoft, or Nintendo. And he'll bring that up a few times throughout this in the second part, that, well, don't compare us to Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo. Yet in their investor video, he clearly says their comparable is Nintendo Wii, and numerous times elsewhere he talks about they're going to be the Wii again. So wouldn't that be comparing to Nintendo? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. They say that quite a bit. He's done that many times, compared himself to the Wii, because that was what they're going for. The sitting in the living room on the couch co-op.
He's never mentions the Evercade or the Playdate or Leapfrog or like the smaller consoles.
No, because they're beneath him.
But it's weird because that'd be the best comparable, since they're small companies trying to compete for a small, piece of pie.
He sees himself as Nintendo already. They will be as big as Nintendo.
So the next, this is what I found funny, because Slopes just like introduces him like, hey, let's talk about the Amico, and then he just goes off and just talks about the haters
instantly over and over again.
He says like he's not saying, hey, yeah, we're creating a new console that's gonna be exciting. He just like mentions the haters. He talks about being so open and transparent causes so much drama and misinformation, and people might call him a liar. And it's so funny because he's not he thinks he's transparent, but he's not transparent. He's the opposite of transparent because he keeps things. Well, he just doesn't tell the honest truth. It creates a lot of the misinformation that's out there because people have to guess. And he brings up that people will keep calling him a liar because he tells
over and over.
He's so open. He's so open, and that people will reference something from 3 years ago.
Yeah,
and it takes him 5 minutes to actually start up, and 5 minutes into the interview, if you watch, Slope says, "Okay, enough of that." Like he says something along the lines of,
15,
"That's enough."
It was like 50. He says he starts in with. I had this written down from my other video. Like he starts in with the drama after saying he learned his lesson, and then after 15 minutes, Slope says, "Well, we haven't even talked about the console yet." Like there was a few times that Slopes like bailed Tommy out. I feel like he
bailed him out a lot.
If he had let him just go, he would have sunk himself. Like he was steering the interview in a way that just like kept Tommy from making complete, absolute, and deranged promises.
It's just weird though. Like 5 minutes in, he's like, "Okay, I didn't." He says something like, "Well, let's talk about the console."
Yeah, he says we haven't even talked about the console
best part, he's
yet.
like, "Okay, let's talk about the console," and then he interrupts Slopes and starts blaming COVID for why they're behind. So he just talks about more negative stuff.
That's a sad thing when that's all you can talk about your company. You can't even mention the positive
COVID
things.
is a real thing, and then but this is where I got annoyed with Slopes, is that you think he could have brought up like, well, you should have maybe the hardware issues. There is chip shortages, all that other stuff, but the software, these are small studios. It's 5 people at most working on these games. It's not like there's no reason why that shouldn't be complete. And should be pressing like, oh, why don't you have more of these games, or why you haven't? Where are all the kids' games or the games for the seniors? Because that's one thing I've noticed when I'll go about that in a little later. But these games are supposed to be for the family, but there's not a whole lot of family games there. And then Tommy is quoted as saying, "People are creating drama in order to garnish clicks and attention, and he's being transparent and honest to a fault." And Slopes cuts him off again after he does it a second time.
He wanted and even towards, if you watch the whole thing, and like at the end of the interview, like Slopes was desperately trying to end it, and he just kept going on and on. He brought it back to the drama to end on. Like he just could not let it go. Like that's why I said he is obsessed with the drama. That's all he is. He literally needs to step away from this project. He's not helping.
And that's where I thought the Nick Richards interview with our friend Tony was so much better, because he just wouldn't get into it. He just said,
"No, this is how it is, and this is what we're."
He just went on and talked about what they're doing, and it just made it. It made that
he's what a
much
normal
more interesting.
CEO would be.
Yeah,
he's what should say Tommy.
Because you imagine somebody who has no idea about what's going on and listening to that, like it's weird.
Tommy is like if you tried to put a child out at the front that has all the information, just trying to explain everything and just makes things up. Like they need an actual guy like Nick Richards who just sticks to the facts, and that's what it is. Like Tommy, if he just stepped away and was quiet, they'd be in such a better place.
Pretty much anybody else. Somebody said John Alvarado, even John. Except I think John's a little bit nervous, not comfortable.
He was, but he didn't like completely make all these promises that would never be kept.
I'm gonna click on this one. Dan Smith. Tommy always brings up the drama. It's the poor me syndrome, big time.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's funny because the next thing I have written down is he brings up that he's the East Coast Italian.
Yeah,
East Coast. We like to settle things, and that's why he would talk with the naysayers. And I found that quote to be funny because he says he's East Coast Italian. We deal with it like men. Yet, if you go on Atari Age, there's a Amico fun thread where you can only pretend, only talk about positive things, and they have a Facebook page that's closed off. And I've never had an interaction with him at all, like Tommy and myself. Yeah, he blocked me on Twitter a long time ago. So for an East Coast Italian, he sure likes to hide.
Yeah, he always brings that East Coast Italian thing up, and it at one point you can see where he was like trying to get like on Slope's good side. He's like, "You're English. You're the same way. We're the same way. East Coast Italian and English." And I talked about that in my video. Like, I'm sick of him always trying to say that East Coast Italian thing is why he is the way he is. Because I'm like, I'm sorry. I grew up down in Georgia. If we might be nice, but if we have a problem with you, we're going to be just as, in your face or whatever. Like, he just makes it sound like, or out on the West Coast, he makes it seem like where he is, that's why they are. And no one else is like that. But with the rest of the country, we know when to keep our mouths shut when it's not good for us. He just doesn't. I don't think that's East Coast Italian. That's just reckless with your words.
And my next comment here, it might stir up some drama.
Ooh,
this is just my opinion. So it's this way people don't complain to you again. Because last stream people were complaining about what you said, and
I do not endorse the following opinions.
I think Retro Bro wasn't happy with you, and maybe one or two others.
Oh no, Retro Bro said I was. He said
You said you're fat.
Fat in the hammock.
So
I thought
at one point Tommy says the reason why people are creating these videos, I guess just like this one, where we are right now, is that they were getting an endorphin hit realizing that Tommy recognized them. And
yeah.
He said that, and in my opinion, I'm like, this is the perfect example, a great sentence he used there. But not for why the haters and talk about him. This is exactly why the cult members worship him, because he acknowledged them, just like I said on our last stream. Mr. Cool Guy acknowledged them, and they got a massive endorphin hit realizing that somebody with even a D-list name recognized them, so that's why they worship him. So I thought that was a funny sentence.
No, I literally have that written down under my part where I was looking at the arrogant thing, and there was a part where he was saying that he wasn't arrogant. He said, if I was arrogant, I wouldn't talk to smaller YouTubers. And I was like, that's exactly the reason you talk to smaller YouTubers, is because they give you those important feelings that you need. Like they look up to you. Like they look up to Tommy and they give him that level of feeling important and his abilities, that they're not exaggerated to them. They believe every word.
The word that Tommy used in the thing, like adjuration. It's supposed to be adulation, but he said adjuration. It gives him adjuration.
All right.
Adulation.
He's like literally like a cult leader.
I wrote, the ego on this guy is insane.
Absolutely, yes.
And the next thing I have is Slopes cuts off Tommy again and brings up that they spent 15 minutes talking about all the negative stuff and haven't talked about the console itself. So yeah, 15 minutes in, they still haven't talked.
Mm-hmm.
And then right after that, he starts talking about the console and then interrupts himself by reassuring everyone that they're not making games like Call of Duty and Red Dead Redemption. And when he does things like that, where he just says, well, we're not trying to be like the other guys. That to me, that gives the impression that you're not confident in your own product. So that's why you have to
put down someone else.
Well, not even that, just to limit people's expectations.
Oh, sure.
He says that cornhole is wildly popular over here. Is it wildly popular where you are?
It's
wildly
pretty
popular.
It's I don't know about wildly, but it's definitely become a lot more popular. I mean, it's the thing that you do if you have people over and you're having some drinks and it's a decent day out. You have cornhole set up, so people are playing cornhole. So it's become a backyard barbecue party game. But the whole cornhole thing, they've complicated it. Like the idea of it being literally like you just flick the remote like the stow in the bag was the good thing. But now that you have to adjust the aim and everything, it's made it more complicated. So it would not. I don't think it's going to play well.
I would say it's probably an exaggeration that it's wildly popular. I don't think people are
wildly popular. Is it's
selling out of them everywhere. It is something.
It is.
Would you say it's more popular than bowling or darts?
No,
I wouldn't either.
No.
And his selling point was that the cornhole is for most of America cannot be played throughout winter, but you could play this inside. That's why people will buy the system, because now for 5 months of the year you could play inside instead of outside.
And Slopes asked him about that too, like saying Tommy was elaborating how much in depth that game was going to be, because they were talking. He compared it to. He said like Wii Sports would not have been. Slopes said Wii Sports would not have been that much if it was just a bowling game, but it had the other games. It had like Wii Tennis, golf. Yes. So it made it more of a game. And then Tommy just went on and on about.
I don't think he liked
there's
that.
There's like 140 something different levels, countries that you can select from, or something, or different levels that you can play on this cornhole game. And he was trying to like sell it as being like this super in-depth thing when it's literally just a mini game, and it's going to worse.
It had features that you can play against the computer.
Ooh. Yeah. Oh yeah. You can have 2 computer players, 2 human players. It's just so much combinations. It's literally cornhole, dude, and you got a few new skins on some boards, and like the background's different. Like it's going to be worse. Cornhole will be worse than any of the games that you can play on Wii Sports, and probably Wii Sports.
If I did read that Slopes in the chat said that these questions were not prepared.
No,
when he was talking with them, so I think when he pushed back on the Wii Sports, having more, I think that did. If you look at the body language once again, he didn't
like that.
Tommy gets a little grumpy in the face. He does it again later when
that one part when he says that's silly.
We'll get to that one later.
Yeah.
But then Tommy looks
a phenomenon.
Then
it was.
Slopes asks about the 6 pack-in game, which is I say it's Backtrack Party. I can't remember what it's called. It's already known. And
really?
Tommy is trying to explain it, and then Slopes is like, "Oh, it sounds like that Wii U game that I played called Wii U Party," and goes on about it. And it's like a similar Pictionary game where I guess you just add on to a picture or whatnot.
Right.
And if you watch that part, Slopes, as he's describing it, Tommy just starts looking sad because I think it's like the same game that the Wii U had.
Oh. I didn't pick up on that.
Hey, do we really think this is Slopes?
It is true. Tommy didn't know any of the questions beforehand. Yeah. I saw that somewhere too. And that's what it seemed like. Like, why wouldn't you want to know? I don't know. I don't know why he wouldn't go over that. Like, why wouldn't you just kind of go over some of the questions? Like, why wouldn't Tommy want to do that?
And if it is Slopes, I did cut you slack earlier in the stream. I did cut slack. I did say I felt bad.
I gave them a thumbs up. I'll have to say I gave him a thumbs up on the video because they were very fair in the chat. They were not cutting people out. I mean, Relic Gamer was going nuts in that thing, just saying that he was going to. He's like, get your screenshots in. We're gonna get them, boys, and all this stuff. And
getting the army.
And at one point, they literally like deleted deleted one of his comments and said, "Hey, man, that's not cool. We don't need to keep talking like that." And they let us all talk and didn't, we didn't get too extreme in it. Trying to keep it.
Well, no, it was normal. I thought the chat was good.
I really enjoyed the chat
for the whole thing, but it was amicable. Amicable. The next part here is talking about the games that they have, and he's asked about the games available for launch, and then it was kind of awkward also because Tommy has to find the spreadsheet because he doesn't know what games are available on launch, and then he doesn't he goes on a tangent that he doesn't want to give misinformation about what's being released and whatnot. He's so
because
paranoid.
he's afraid that the haters will call him a liar. It goes back to that over and over.
It's one of the things I do see some of it. Like sometimes people are nitpicking, like the smallest things.
Sure.
And
he needs to not pay attention to it.
I can see both sides of it, because it's kind of a death by 1,000 cuts with Tommy, because it's like I said earlier, when he's just talking about when he pretended he was a child prodigy piano player, and then
we're nitpicking. We're definitely nitpicking here.
But it's just a death of 1,000 cuts, because it's like it's not just one or two things you can just let it slide. This is when every single thing it just gets together, like gets too much.
It's like a bunch of small things that just add up to this massive, bizarre thing, and that's what's so interesting about the story is Tommy. Tommy makes this whole Amico thing fascinating. If it wasn't for him, it would just be boring, like the Atari VCS. It was like came and went, it's still here, but there was nothing that surrounded it. Like Tommy is the reason that this story is so fascinating.
Yeah, without Tommy, this is pretty quiet.
Nothing. Yeah,
it's pretty quiet, because well, what are you gonna? Well, there'd be some topics, because of the delays and whatnot, but
it wouldn't be like it is, because Tommy is the story. Everything is like surrounded in.
Well, I said on our first stream that we had, through how I found out about the Amico was I learned from Victor Lucas on his thing, and I typed in YouTube, Intellivision Amico, and the first video was somebody posting a montage of him saying that Nintendo has rape games and is full of rape games and sex games. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, who says this? Like, is Tommy saying it? Like, I recognize him, so it wasn't somebody photoshopping him into this stuff. I'm like, what is going on here? And then from there, it just blossomed into all the weird stuff.
Yeah.
Had he not said, don't buy the Switch because it's full of rape games and your children will accidentally download porn games, and like, I would have probably not looked into it too much more. But that's what did it. It's really bizarre.
It's a fascinating thing, and you just start listening to Tommy talk, and you're like, man, I want to hear more. Like, it's addicting.
Slopes he says, I got to say, after listening to your opinions, Days, I thought you was fully fair, mate. I appreciate the positive and negative feedback. There you go.
Hey, appreciate that.
I will say, Dayzed, Hammock Man, that most of the people do agree with you, and even your previous videos about the other topics, you give a fair take, an honest take, and it might not be the stuff that people want to hear, but you're not saying it in a crude manner or malicious intent. So that's why you're very much appreciated.
It's the Hammock, dude. I can't take the credit. It's the Hammock. Because if I were just sitting up here doing these videos like normally, just staring at the camera, maybe my takes wouldn't be as good. But there's something about lying in that hammock, just chilling, being comfortable, and it's a great spot right there that I just feel like I can speak my mind, and so it's worked for me.
Oh, you're cutting out a little bit. Tommy Uyamiko says Victor Lucas can't get YouTube subs. This is true, and it is a shame. I do like Electric Playground, like Victor Lucas. He gives, usually fair takes, and doesn't. His videos are mellow. They're not over the top.
Who's Victor Lucas? I've never heard of him.
He's the guy who created Electric Playground, which was a TV. Well, there's a couple TV shows. Tommy mentions that he started a TV show.
That's the one with Tim. It was in Canada, right?
This is correct. Victor Lucas started a TV show, and I think
he was part of that.
The first, he might have been the first co-host, Tommy, or else the second one. It was going on for about 20 years. Or it did go on for about 20 years. It was a good show because it was, it was an entertaining show. Tommy was not really well liked in Canada here because he was annoying. I always say he's like Screech from Saved by the Bell. He just tried hard to be. I said that last time, and he was just like try to get outrageous, try to be the flashy, outrageous guy, and that's where he gave Super Smash Brothers 2.5 on 10, and I think he gave Metroid Prime 5 or 6 on 10, which is odd because if he worked on it, you think you'd be like, hey, it's a great game. 10 on 10.
Well, if you get fired from it, you're not going to give it a good review.
It was a good show, and it was really good because Electric Playground would be it'd just be on TV all the time. When I come home from the bar at 2 a.m, it'd be on. It was perfect, like TV, just a good show and they would
just chill and watch.
This is before YouTube, so don't forget. So you don't see a whole lot of gameplay footage. So they'd have behind the scenes interviews and stuff. It's a really good show. I liked it.
I used to love any shows that would have gameplay because we didn't have YouTube. It was just such a fun. Even like some of these terrible video game shows that we had growing up, like the ones like that were competitions. I can't even remember some of them now. I remember there was one where the final part of the game when you win was you got to run around and grab Nintendo games or video games off a shelf, and whatever you could get, it was set up like a game store, and whatever you could grab,
yes. I don't remember what it was called.
Get out. I don't remember what it was called either, but like they played games there was game competitions to get to the end, and I was like, I loved that stuff.
I just remember that game show. I'm assuming it's the same one. If you find a backpack in the gauntlet, you can stuff the backpack, and then you slide down, and sometimes kids would run
same one.
Kids would run too fast, and then all the games would fly out of the backpack, and they'd slide down and only have like 5 games. I'm like, what the hell, man?
Yeah, dude. I love that game. I wanted to be on that so bad.
So good. Okay, so back to this thing here. Tommy struggles to find out what the launch titles are. We have eventually find out what the launch window games are. It's what we already know. Nothing top secret. And I just want to add, I'll list off the games. This is physical and the pack-in games and the other games he mentioned. You let me know if any games your grandma would play, or how many of the games your grandma or else mom would play. And here they are. First one is Space Strikers, where you're a spaceship shooting stuff in space.
No.
Next one is Missile Command, where you're in space shooting space stuff in space. The next one is Rigid Force Rida, is where your spaceship's shooting stuff in space. The fourth one is Moon Patrol, which is you're in a ship shooting stuff in space. Fifth one is Astro Smash, was where you're shooting stuff in space. You notice a trend here?
Yeah, no. The only game maybe I would see my grandmother playing, I guess, Brain Duel, maybe.
So the other games I have here, Biplanes, where you're not in outer space, but you're shooting stuff in a spaceship.
Yeah.
You think they would have these a little bit spread around? It's kind of a lot of crossover. There's Flying Tigers.
Moon Patrol is kind of it's sort of a driving game too and shooting, but there's a little more in depth. Moon Patrol is the one game that I would actually enjoy probably playing because it'd be really tough to mess up Moon Patrol. In fact, I played Moon Patrol on the Intellivision app on my phone, and it's not horrible.
But would your wife want to play?
No, absolutely not.
My
grandmother, none of these would want to play those.
So there's Biplanes, which you're in a plane shooting stuff.
Yeah.
Flying Tigers, which you're in a plane shooting stuff. Battle Tanks, which you're in a tank shooting stuff, which is slightly different. There is, like you said, Brain Duel. It's something. There's, I've not said Dyna Blaster, where you're Bomberman. Intellivision Pool. Farkle. That's the grandma killer there.
That's a good one there. That's the grandma app.
The game killer, not the grandma killer. That sounds terrible.
The grandma's killer app.
Skiing, Farkle, Cornhole, Shark, and the party game, that 6th announced one. He also mentions he didn't mention when Breakout's coming out, which is weird. I would think Breakout, I agree with Slopes. Breakout would be the killer app that I would lean on because it looks nice. It looks like it's fun. It looks modern. Everyone knows Breakout.
I don't know about this. I don't like the fact that it's sideways, though. I think they could have made a cool Breakout game, just a regular Breakout. Like I don't see the point of turning it sideways. I don't like that.
I'm guessing because there's more real estate on the widescreen TV.
Possibly, but
what would make sense is if they had the sideways, but also maybe a 3D or the other way, like vertical. Having it both ways, you can play either way.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And so yeah, my main point of those games when I was listing off is so many of them are similar, just space shooting games.
It's like
I don't see grandma, mom,
it's
little kids wanting to play those games. So the family games that they have the skiing, Farkle, cornhole, Shark, Finnegan Fox, and maybe Brain Duel. Evil Knievel, maybe.
I guess.
Is that enough to get people to buy?
No, I was gonna say it's like all those space shooters. It's like Action 52. Like if you ever watch reviews of that game, it's like space shooter, because they're the easiest game to make.
The Media Music Forever says, for family-friendly games, there's a lot of guns, violence, and shooting at others.
Yeah.
I would think the path for success would be, like, first of all, there should definitely be a Mario Party knockoff.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to. Like,
that would
something
be so
similar.
simple for them to do, like, because they already have mini games, just like a board game with mini games, and they could be. You could have like Intellivision properties. It's like an Astro Smash,
like a mascots and stuff. Yeah.
Or the Running Man could do stuff. Like you could have a Running Man race, or
and just make it a little bit more cartoonish.
Exactly. Why are we coming up with that? That's a brilliant idea.
Why are we coming up with it? Well, it's just because it's basic. Common sense, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, because if you're trying to sell this as to non-gamers, that's a lot of just standard gaming tropes, space shooters.
Like when I did my Leap TV video, and I was looking at the gameplay footage, and they have big licenses like Marvel and Nickelodeon, so they have actually real good mascots that they can use. But even they had like a basic racing game, kart racer. Not nearly as good as Mario Kart or anything, but
yeah,
why not have
would be cool.
Why not have a kart racer? Just have something
with the characters, the Running Man character. I don't know how you could do I guess you could. No, you could actually be driving the Moon Patrol vehicle, or like the Astro Smash ship.
Well, I think they said they had a Care Bears license. Maybe if they have, I don't know,
a Care Bears. Yeah, you could do that. That would
or even just some obscure cartoon. At least you have the characters already built, so you don't something. And,
that would actually, that's not a bad idea. A Care Bears kart racing game, if they have.
I think there is one.
All of those characters have like their stupid Care Bear stare where they and shoot it out of their chest. I mean, they all have have their own powers.
Mike Garcia says Tommy is taking notes on his Wonka book as you speak.
Oh,
Tommy is probably currently coughing on people without a mask on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other thing is the other thing is how's there no card games? Like just a basic poker, solitaire, maybe not even solitaire because you want to have multiplayer, but
why not solitaire? Solitaire, that would just take up no room. Just throw solitaire on there. Yeah.
Chess, checkers, basically clubhouse games is what I'm saying.
Yeah, you could just have like a pack with a bunch of games like that on it. It doesn't have to be like one game is chess or exactly. You just have like a selection.
Mahjong,
even poker games, man. You could have like a casino type game, where you're playing different like blackjack or just slot machines.
Well, I think it's because of the multiplayer focus. They want to have games with multiple.
You could do that. Like, why couldn't you all have like 4 different slot machines on the screen, and it's like everyone's pulling a slot machine and playing. Or
it's so boring.
But like if you're playing like blackjack, you could all be sitting at a table playing blackjack.
That's the blackjack and poker is an easy thing because he always talks about the controller,
or like Texas Hold'em or
the
something.
Controller having. Well, I think didn't they show footage of a poker game?
Did they? I didn't see that.
That gets to another point I was going to bring up. Since E3. After they had the big announcement, or not the big announcement, but the big presentation, they have not really shown a whole lot, even though they had promised they're going to do deep dive. Well, not that you really need a deep dive, but just more information about what's going on. And since then, they have had 0 videos on any games or new games, just dedicated to them. They've had 3 videos on their events, one at Crayola Boomers event in Utah, where it's just the people going, this is so much fun. And they barely showed anything at, people playing. And they've had 3 office tour videos. Isn't that, seems a bit silly?
But if you ask them, they'll tell you that they have tons of in-depth gameplay footage already, but we'll do more. And what about the FAQs? Like how hard would that be to sit? I could do an FAQ list in less than an hour.
Well, you would think they would have. Pretty much you'd just have John Alvarado there answering the questions because he's the only one who knows. But you don't even need anything super technical. You're selling the product. Don't want to go off on my own tangent here, but when they sell the physical media, whatever they call it, the games, the boxes, you think on the site they'd have an FAQ explaining how it works. You just have to tap. You will need to tap every 48 hours if you're offline or whatever the rules are. Just a basic thing just to answer the questions.
Exactly. Like it doesn't have to be this big whole thing where you're afraid that something you say now is going to be taken out of context later. Just give them the facts.
It should be pretty basic.
Facts are facts.
And just be a bit more honest, because those 8 games that were physical will not be maybe write something in a nice way that it does not guarantee that they ever will come out, because in the small print it shows that.
Tommy, later on in the article, he says all 8 of the physical game products are 100% complete except for Brain Dole.
98.9. I think.
No, he said how many. Slopes asked him how many of the 6 games are literally finished. He said 5 out of 6.
Oh, that's right.
98.9%. Then later they get into a little bit after that. They ask about. He says, are all 8 physical products games are 100%? And Tommy's like, yeah, like does one of those things.
Well, Moon Patrol is not, because they have Star Fox in it. Remember?
Yeah, exactly. According to him, he said except for Brain Duel is the only.
The user interface isn't complete either, or the game's menu system is not complete on Moon Patrol also.
Well, no, according
to
half
in German, half in
Tommy
English.
said on Slope's interview, though, Ninja Kitty, that they're 100% complete except Brain Duel. So I got to go with what Tommy said.
And also, just to find out these answers, they shouldn't have to hunt through a 3-hour interview to find answers.
Well, I've got it. I've got it marked right now. I've got at 1 hour and 32 minutes and 20 seconds. That's where Tommy says it. How many of the 6 games are literally finished?
That's a good point. D. Reed has. They should have an old made card game.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, there should be a lot of, because all those card games, there's no licensing that you have to do for that.
Go Fish.
Why not? It's for little kids, so
exactly. That would be so easy.
You just play a game like that, and there's, it's much easier to play with real cards, but maybe have some interactive, funny stuff on the TV screen.
Yeah, like he. Like, look at the old maid. She's dancing around.
Soap says, thanks for the views, guy.
Oh yeah, because we were going through, and I gave you a few views because I went back dissecting the video.
I do watch his main channel all the time, so big fan. Okay, so the other games they talk about is Dolphin Quest, which I would also lean on that game. That'd be a game I would be. They need more games like Dolphin Quest, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it could be easy. I don't care if it's too easy for me to play, but it's a good one to show off, because people are going to want basic games. Even though people don't like Finnegan and Fox's graphical style, I think those games are the perfect games to show off, because people will be like, oh, my little kid can play it. It's not going to be super violent. It's not going to be a 5-minute mini game. They need more adventure games, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
He explained that was going to be like you could play it in like co-op. Like you'd have a stronger dolphin that would ram through stuff, a baby dolphin that could get into like small spaces. But there was one part that I noticed in the interview too, where Slopes asked Tommy if he thought that he could get the license for Echo from Sega, and Tommy didn't. Tommy says it's possible. You can't ever say no that it probably won't happen. Like that. That's an answer.
It's a very common thing that he has said in previous interviews with lots of YouTubers. Like I have not gone through all the videos, because in the before time days, he would do 5 a week, 5 4-hour interviews a week.
Tommy was?
Yeah, and somebody be like,
how do I didn't see all those.
Well, this is a little while back, earlier this year.
Every single week. I'm probably about 5 months into this thing now. I started following it about 5 months ago.
He'd be on YouTube channels with, not that it really matters, and I have whatever. I have 300 subscribers, but people have 5 subscribers, and then they would say, "Hey, think we can get Castlevania on the system or Contra?" You never say never. And
I have heard that. Yeah,
it's like, well, no, you're not going to get Castlevania or Contra on the system. Like, just be honest. Be like, no, we're focusing on indie titles and stuff, which people would respect.
Or you could even say, eventually down the day, if there's time, we could pursue avenues like that. But for now, it's that's not where we're going. But no, it's got to be, well, yeah, anything's possible.
He just doesn't want to say no. It's just weird. So that
it is weird. Even
people haven't watched his videos.
Even to a person with, like you said, a handful of subscribers, he cannot be upfront with. He has to charm them.
But it just doesn't make sense. It's not like we're gonna be like, "Oh, your system sucks because you can't get Halo on it." Like, well, what the hell?
Yeah.
If he says, "Hey, we're looking for more Fox and Force type games," people aren't gonna be mad. They're like, "Okay, that's good. Something different."
Yeah.
We limit our expectations. And he says there's 20 games in final testing stages, which probably is accurate because the list of games that were announced, they should be. He did bring up Night Stalker, and we don't know if that's actually in development or not, because I've only heard Smash JT say that he played a bit of it a long time ago, and it was really rough state. Right at the beginning. But another game that you think that they would lean on if it was being developed to get people interested.
Hey, Night Stalker is one of the, it's one of the big ones on Intellivision.
Oh, I know.
Astro Smash. That's the thing, though, too, that's weird. Because Intellivision, sure, it sold a couple million units. It's still a pretty niche console. So you're selling these characters in these games that are, I'm sorry, they're not in the normal lexicon like Super Mario Brothers or something like that. He's trying to sell those games to non-gamers too. That's the strange thing. Like Astro Smash, like your random grandma is not going to know what Astro Smash is.
No, I said before, the brand.
It's a strange brand.
Value is pretty low.
Not. Yeah, it's a strange brand to try to use to get to people because the games are so unknown. The Intellivision brand, from what I understand, is pretty much non-existent in Europe. Yeah,
I assume it's none in Japan, so it's not even a focus there.
Who said that? Did he say that? Did Slopes say that?
I think he brought it up. I've spoke to other people who've talked about Intellivision and the UK, and basically it's non-existent. It was pretty non-existent here too. But it's a little bit before my day, but Atari is a lot more known name.
Yeah,
in these parts here, Atari. It went for Atari, then Nintendo.
Yeah, and Nintendo wasn't even as big in England, or in Europe.
Fully non-existent. So Slopes did say it also.
Yeah. So no one knows that. So it's just a bizarre, because it could be, I don't know, it could be sold to niche Intellivision fans, but trying to take a property like Intellivision and sell it to the masses.
Well, I worked at GameStop before, back in my youth, and Intellivision Lives came out for the PlayStation 2, GameCube, Xbox, and I remember the day it came out because I put it on the shelf. It was around the same time that Midway's Classic Treasures came out, same systems. And the Midway one had, I remember having Smash TV, Smash TV, not Super Smash TV.
Yeah.
And a bunch of other games too. And that one sold, we'll say 50 copies, while the Intellivision one sold like 2. Like, it wasn't a big, people didn't, it was not a big deal. And Slopes writes here, I'm a big retro guy and have never seen one in the wild besides at shows. And that's the same case here where I'm at. I'm not sure. You do a lot more.
I find them.
Shopping.
I have 2 regular Intellivisions, and I have an Intellivision 2, and then I have like the Sears brand Intellivision. So I find them at yard sales, not as often as Atari's, but yes, you find them in the wild here.
I've seen them at game stores, like the smaller used game stores.
Yeah,
and it's cheap. Like, the games are.
They are very cheap. I bought
$5 a game.
I bought a ton of boxed games at my local game shop, and they were $1 a piece. and I bought like 20 of them.
Nope, we have an Intellivision fan.
The artwork is awesome. I have Intellivision Lives. Yeah.
Lives, yeah.
Or Lives, yeah.
So next part, since this is starting to drag out, I apologize, but it's fun. It's fun.
No, I don't care. We can talk more. We're hitting the 2-hour mark, so can I take a quick bathroom break?
For sure.
2 hours. I'm an old man, you know.
I'll just trash on you.
That's perfect, man. You talk shit while I'm gone. I'm down. I'll be right back.
So we have this Intellivision chill here. I'll go through the comments here just to fill in the dead air. Says LMAO, the console isn't for your grandma or your kids. The entire system and its games are designed to appeal to Tommy Tallarico. And it's funny, but it's the truth though, because even he said in the interview that it was his interest and his things that he enjoyed. And even the console itself, does he not have a Ferrari red design? So he has the Ferrari red, the tacky LED lights because he's all into the show and stuff. I think this goes back to the Homer Simpson when he designed that green car that ruined his brother-in-law. Like, there's just everything that he liked put together, and in the end, the output is this horrible tacky mess at the end. Oh. So Leland says he had Intellivision around NES when NES was popular because it was the secondhand stores for kids with less money. It's probably a good point. Back in my day, the Atari was pretty cheap though, like even during the NES days. So a lot of people dumped their Atari systems for NESs. So I remember being able to go to the store and you can get like an Atari 2600 with a box of games for like $30, $40. It was pretty cheap. Let's make a Kickstarter to bring back the CDI. Soccer moms are sure going to love plumbers. Don't wear ties. Rita. A bomber break? I think he means boomer break. Well, I did keep him on for like 2 hours, and he's probably drinking heavily, so don't let him. I actually had to see if it was officially released here. It was. I do know 2 YouTubers that have one, so it is really obscure. And I don't think too many people, like if they heard the name, would know what it is. It's vaguely familiar, but it's so old. Like it's even like I'm 40 years old, and I've never heard any of my friends ever even use the word Intellivision once. So it's aimed at the 50-year-olds and older. Thanks, Tommy. I think you should pair up with Carl more often. That was quite the outbreak you had the other day. The GTO red. Oh, my bad. Get it right, Ninja. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't. That is not true, Mike, because Tommy has not blocked his number one friend, Saggy Melons. Love that name. And she talks to me.
Yeah.
We have Canadian Gamer in the house.
What's up?
It's a lot of comments. Holy crap. I am very bad at keeping up here. Slope says, I know a lot of people had Ataris, at least parents that had them. But here in the 80s, the home computer market 100% dominated. During the video game crash, he was buying games for $150. And nice. I'm kind of vaguely familiar with it. Like, I don't really know. I'm not a historian or whatnot, but if you've never seen the YouTube channel, The Last Gamer from Australia talks a lot about games across all around the world, and he talked about Europe quite a bit. Have you ever seen The Last Gamer, Dayzed?
No.
Oh, he had the largest collection, and it's just insane a collection of games. If you ever get time, I think his videos are still online. It's insane. He has everything. It'll keep you occupied for days watching his videos because he had to like redo his whole house to fit all his games, and he talks a lot about the Amiga and stuff, and not the Amico though.
I've heard a little bit about it too. That I know computers were just a lot bigger outside of the world before they were for us. You know, our consoles were still large for us through the 80s.
Joel, The Last Gamer. Yeah, if you watch his recent stuff, the guy has just had bad luck. I feel bad for him. He's had like heart attacks, lightning hit his house and everything. And
damn.
Yeah, he has an arcade in his house with like 40 or 50 machines, and he didn't have it properly protected from electrical storms, and they had electrical storm and fried all of his boards. Super sad.
I only have one arcade cabinet in my house. It's a Super Pac-Man, but it's one of those that has like 40 different games. That's a very American thing. Yeah. Oh, I know. Yes, I know. I was buying. I remember towards the end, because I got an Atari in 1983 for Christmas. I was 5 years old, and I remember at that time being able to go and literally go to Toys R Us and buy games for $5 because there was just so much. There's just so many games that drove it into the ground.
So getting back to his interview here. Next point. Do you think the World of Warcraft was a good example that he gave for people buying in a store and having to download it at home? Do you remember that part?
I don't remember that part. I somehow must have missed that. I was listening to the interview at 2 times speed to get through it.
So really fast, you know.
I missed some things because I would stop it. I'd say that's interesting, and I'd write it down and write the time stamp.
I would. What I would say is this is the whole conversation about, is it a code in the box, like the physical media or whatever he calls it, and it's not.
He got mad about that.
He did get mad, and I do understand what he's trying to say, because it isn't a code in the box, and it is different. Where I could give you the card, the RFID card, and you can tap your machine and start playing the game. Meanwhile, for the Switch, if I have a code in the box, I can't just give you the game. So he does have a point. It's just that he poorly explained it, in my opinion. Because he used World of Warcraft, for example. People go to the store and then they have to come home and it's like, oh, you have to download the game, but it's a massive multi-online player game. Like people's expectations that it'll be online only. And did you understand how the RFID cards work?
I mean, well, what, you tap it? No, not really. I don't really remember exactly.
The whole part is it's kind of convoluted, but once again, it's sad. Maybe Slopes should work for Intellivision because he did a better job at explaining it. Because Tommy would go off in a tangent, a circle around the question. Yeah. So basically, what it is, it's you buy those people who bought the boxes and the cards. You get the card. If your Amico is connected to Wi-Fi, to the internet, and it always is, like say it's always connected, you just tap it. It registers the tap.
And it stays on there, right.
And it stays on there, and you don't have to tap it ever again.
But if you aren't connected, you have to tap it every time.
I'm not sure if it's every time or...
I thought it was. I thought I remember him saying that because it was like it kind of... Because I was thinking it kind of makes it like an actual cartridge. If it's offline, you have to bring it to it every time. I thought pretty sure that's what he said.
Yep. And it's just that Slopes did a better job of explaining it because I had to watch it 3 times for me to understand it. Because he just kept going on tangents and not being clear on it, and this is where an FAQ would have been good. Even a video. You think they'd have a video?
It. Yes, that's like, hey, you got how hard would that be?
And then showing how easy it is.
They could hire me. I could go make them a great FAQ section with some videos. I could be in and out of there in a day, and it would look great.
Apparently, there's World War III happening in my house here, child. Apologize for the screaming in the back.
My kids are older, so we don't hear.
Have you ever seen the video from E3? I think it was the PlayStation 3. I think it was the PlayStation 3 era where Sony showed how to give your friend a game and how they can play it. It's to make fun of Xbox, and they just show the Sony guy with the game in his hand, just pass it to his friend, and then that is it. Did you ever see that video?
No.
God damn it! It's such a good video. I think they should do an RFID video of that. Just tap it. That's all you have to do. Don't have to explain everything.
That's why they need to hire Panda Sub, dude. He'll actually.
Well, he might overly complicate it because his videos are all
take a month to produce.
Overly. He should be doing the promo videos, but just the basic one. Like A.K.A has videos showing how to use your user interface. Just show somebody, tap it. Downloads, blah blah blah.
And guess what? We're not talking about A.K.A, are we? Because that's normal. That's not a story. the craziness that we get through the Amico is the story. That's why we talk about it, and not about Evercade, because there's nothing there.
He says it's annoyingly, it's stupidly easy to explain, but the more in depth you get, the more complicated it gets.
Yeah, he got mad too about something about saying that it was confusing to moms. He's like, you just tap it, because he was saying that people were calling him out, saying, "Oh, this is gonna be confusing to moms." And going again back to the haters, like he dragged it back into that.
It's well, it is confusing, and the whole NFT and everything like that. It just we didn't really get an answer for that.
No, he talked a lot about the security on the NFT.
Well, today's video, I think we should bring
big.
This back here. Where is it? I think I have a part of this, don't I?
Oh, when he said silly question.
How is it encrypted?
Well, that's a silly question.
Look at him smiling. His brain rebooted.
Can you?
He got mad there.
Can you explain what it is that's at that URL?
No, I wouldn't say that publicly. No, I guess I don't understand. There's encrypted data that is.
Okay,
nice.
Yeah, seeing that the first time, I'm like, oh, his brain shut off. It should not be this overly complicated. I mean, we still didn't get the actual answers of how the NFT.
No, because he said he couldn't, because the haters he could potentially make changes to it, or something could change, and if he says it, we'll call him liars. Like, that was his excuse. If he didn't have haters to blame, he would literally be in trouble. Like, that gives him an avenue to blame, like why he can't give reasons for what he's claiming.
And from what I understood, I could be wrong, in no place on the box itself says that it is NFTs contained in there. Like, there's no mentioning on the physical media, like the box. Well, and also on the webpage, there isn't anything on the webpage from what I understood. I could be wrong. That there's nowhere it says it is. It's just in his interviews he said this. So,
well, he said the NFTs were just a cherry on top, because it would give you, like, they talked too about.
I'm not going to profess I'm a. Well, I know there's no NFTs in the box, like literally in the box, but right. I was talking more so like explaining how this is. I thought they would have like a little piece of paper explaining how you can switch it with your friends, or instructions of how to trade it to your friends, or what you'll need. There's nothing there. There's absolutely nothing. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah. He talks about the value of them, though, that it's like the first one, like Tommy's going to have the first one, or like the 10th one, or the 100th version will have value. And I was just, like he said too, like it would be numbered by how quickly you tapped it to the thing. Like, so whoever gets the first one, if you tap it first, you're number 2, because Tommy claims he's getting number 1. So yours could be more valuable. The NFT connected to that game. So everyone's they're going to have to all be tapping like immediately when it goes on launch. Like, that's all of the people that own the physical media need to be tapping away as quickly as they can to get the first few numbers to have the most value.
Do you think that's going to increase its value?
No, but I mean, I guess it could if people got weird about it. Like, ooh, it's the 100th version. Or, ooh, that's Retro Bros version. Like, that could have value.
Kind of like a leaderboard thing where whoever's top is the best type of thing.
Yeah, or OEB Pete's. This was OEB. This one was connected to Pete.
I think, well, I'm not an expert in NFTs. Never proclaimed I was.
No, I'm not either.
The NFTs that would make more sense would be unique things for certain games. Like, say, Dyna Blaster, you have a special costume. So I don't know. Stuff like that. Oh, yeah. My God. Oh, hell breaking loose here.
Kids. I'm lucky. My youngest is now 12. So I'd be having the same thing in my background. Like, get out of here. I'm doing something.
But I don't believe the numbering order will really, like, people will care.
I don't either, but that was a claim that Tommy was saying, that's like an added cherry on top. But of course, they don't want to discuss it. Oh, and then he also talked about the NFTs being bad for the environment. He said, "What in it that's last year's news. That's not the updated news. That the way they're doing it, it's not bad." But of course, he's not at liberty to discuss how they're doing it because of the haters. So I was like thinking, like if they had like this way that they could do NFTs that weren't bad for the environment, like that secret knowledge, wouldn't that be worth more than an Amico? And they could sell that. You know what I'm saying?
They're
like
creating something new.
Yeah, that proprietary technology that they have that makes NFTs not be bad for the environment is worth a ton more than video game consoles. But he can't talk about it because the haters will there'll be changes and we'll call him a liar.
What I found weird is so for the circling back to the numbering system, why they didn't on the box that say limited edition 1 of 5,000 or 2 of 5,000 on the actual physical box.
That gives them deniability when they don't do the NFTs. Like, well, it never said it on the box. That was just one of those things that changed again.
Yeah, but why wouldn't they just not have NFTs and do that instead? You know, like Artwork has, or
like a
some games have numbering also.
It's like
and that'd mean more too because it's actually you can physically see it.
And it would have been a nice touch, I think, to send the first 20 to like his most diehard supporters. Like,
for sure,
they still, even if they paid for it, like let them pay for it, but give them like the first ones.
1, 2, 3, so, yeah.
Have
you followed OEB Pete lately?
You mean Classic Gaming Fun?
He's I feel bad for the guy.
Yeah,
because actually, I don't really feel bad for him because Evercade has picked up on him.
Yeah, he got a free Evercade.
He's they even advertised him in, I think, Bacon Ice Cream Guy, whatever. He's been, because I follow Evercade. I'm in the Discord and follow him because I'm getting a Founders Edition, and they have they've promoted some of his pod or what you call streams.
Mm-hmm.
And well, then they also send him the Evercade and whatnot. So I think OEB, our friend OEB Pete, might have found a good rebound.
Well, good for him. A good rebound from Tommy to Evercade.
As much as we kind of tease, make fun, and how
OEB Pete was the one that I liked the best. I did. I never wanted to be.
I don't think he's malicious at all.
No, I think
whatsoever.
The dude, I mean, he's just like a normal.
He's scary and stuff, but
yeah, he's scary. He's got the evil.
But he's not. I don't think he's a bad dude or anything. And dude, I feel
he literally had to change his channel name and everything to distance itself from OEB Pete and the Amico.
Possibly, I don't know the full reason.
That's probably why it would have to be, because now it's like he's something else. Like he's not OEB Pete anymore. He's Classic Gaming Fun. Like there's two different. That way he can just be this new Evercade thing, and that's a great thing for him to be a part of. It's normal. There's actual good information. Things that they say they're going to do, they actually do.
Oh, they're far more professional.
They take care of their people. I mean, they sent him a free one, and he has 4,000 or 5,000 subscribers, maybe. I don't even know. Does he even have that many?
No Swear Gamer says the Evercade is pretty cool. A better system for retro gamers for the price at this point. Hey, you know what? You want to hear one of my ideas? I'm not sure if you heard about this idea.
No, I don't know. Let's hear it.
My crazy idea. What Tommy should have done. What Tommy should have done. And this is way too late now. Is what he should have done is team up with Blaze, which makes Evercade, and then so when the Evercade VS was to come out, have Intellivision exclusive software on the Evercade, so Shark, Astro Smash, those type of games, have it exclusive for the Evercade to start with, and then maybe a special controller, even if they want the weird touchscreen, which they shouldn't have. But I thought they should have a instead of a D-pad to have the disc, but also make the disc a spinner, so when you play Breakout, so just have no D-pad, but have the disc, maybe have the analog sticks, the buttons, no touchscreen. Team with Evercade, so Evercade worries all about the hardware, releasing the hardware, the system, and have exclusive content for the Evercade, so maybe exclusive features, but then roll out the Astro Smashes to Switch and all the other games. I thought that would have been a better idea than what they're doing right now.
Yeah, but that's a normal idea. You can't have normal ideas from Intellivision. You know, we have to have convoluted ideas. They have to go straight out of the gate, like creating an entire ecosystem, like a fourth console to rival Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo. Like it would make so much more sense to take smaller risks like that. Exactly. Get the software out, see what the kind of sales are, and then if there's demand, create your console.
Grizzly Case says Blaze had a pretty bad reputation before they came out with the Evercade, to be honest. They really turned it around since. And this is where I'll agree with Tommy. Yes, small companies make mistakes. You learn as you go. But how you handle the negativity. So I have a Playdate also pre-ordered. Apparently I pre-order everything. And they sent out an update to announcing their latest delay. But they're extremely transparent with why they're delayed. They had bad batch of batteries for their first shipment of 5,000 units. All had bad batteries, so they had to ship them back to Malaysia. Then they have to redesign they had to use a different CPU, I think. So they had to redesign the board to use a new CPU. But they fully explain in a detailed paragraph why we're late, when you can expect it, and well, I'm sure they, that's how they deal with the negativities.
So they didn't
usually
they didn't bury the email at the very end of like responding to an investor's thing. Like they didn't do it like that. You mean?
Nope.
Oh,
so
that's good.
Not every company is perfect, and then as you can see, certain, especially the big companies, Microsoft goes up and down with being great and bad. It's just that it seems like Intellivision has had a ton of learning experiences that they could have learned from, and people have given them advice, and they've not taken any of it. This is why they keep getting piled on. This is why we have a stream right now.
Yeah, yeah, it gives, I guess, something for us to talk about on a Sunday evening.
So keep on going here. So he complains about physical people. I believe Slopes brought up the Evercade box, or the games you buy for Evercade come in a plastic case and have a cartridge and a little manual inside it. And Tommy says, let's be honest, last 30 years, it's just a DVD case. That's all you're getting. Though I do find it kind of funny because the Amico things are, there's been paper DVD cases, like cardboard DVD cases.
That don't snap shut.
And I remember having those and selling those, and they get dinged up quickly. That's why they use a protective case.
Mm-hmm.
And I also found it a bit odd that he's trying to say that they give a better value, because for $20 you get a coin, a lenticular card, the RFID, the game card or whatever. Meanwhile, Sony charges you $60 for a game, and all you get is like a 50-cent DVD cover with a slip and nothing else. And I just thought it was a weird comparison, because for $60 I can get God of War. You know what I mean? Like an awesome game. The collector in the collector for me, like if I was a big collector, I it's just a basic DVD case, nothing fancy, but
it goes value, on the shelf.
Yeah, the value is you can't really compare the value
in the game.
In the game itself, yeah.
It's like on a like infomercial or something where they're just like they're going to sell you the game, but hey, if you act now, we're going to throw in a coin or this lenticular card. It's like it's not the fact that you have to sell these other little things to just sell the game, because the game itself is nowhere near worth $20.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Dan says God of War is a hell of a lot better.
Yeah.
$60 you can get Clubhouse games, even cheaper sometimes.
They get a ton of value there.
So I'm going to go down my boomer note. I told you I had a lot of boomer notes. Earthworm Jim. This is where you said, I have written down here, he gives the least confident answer that it was gameplay footage by going, yep, in a high-pitched voice. That's what I have written down.
Yeah.
That's what you said as well. And Slope says, tell us something about the game. And it takes him 5 minutes of him rambling around and talking about different things to say the game is not in development and that they only have the jokes written down.
That was, yeah. That's where he talked about too, like how they created the first level of Earthworm Jim with the refrigerator. How would we have a refrigerator hanging? Oh, it could be a junkyard. It
just probably would have been there's so much things that can unpack with that. Just maybe if they had money, like we're under the assumption they have money, which I don't.
Yeah.
You think they would focus on getting the Earthworm Jim out ASAP?
Yeah, that's their killer
because
app.
that's your killer app. That's the killer app. And or the other thing is maybe they shouldn't have shown that thing a year and a half, 2 years ago, whenever it was, that little animation, because now people are asking about it and they have nothing to show.
Yeah. That was when he did the high pitched because Slopes was asking him. So this is because he asked him that basically the clip that showed the Earthworm Jim is not actual gameplay footage. It's like something that was created, I guess. Like, I don't know if it was CGI or whatever, but he said, so was this actually used with the actual Amico controller? And Tommy's like, yep, yeah. So do you think that's real? Do you think that that's true? That footage of the original Earthworm Jim was being controlled by a controller? Or do they just create it?
It's hard to say because it's not like they have a lot. It's just someone going back and forth on a beach. It's not a. I would probably say it's probably in game.
You think so?
But it's not much. It's just a walking animation,
right?
So it's not a whole lot to it. So even if it was in game, it's just. He always said that he wanted to wait to year 2 to launch the game, Earthworm Jim, until they have built a user base already, which seems weird to me because
that should be.
You think you'd want the killer app, you want that Mario 64 to get everyone there day one. So
that's
I would have focused.
He thought he could create this ecosystem with Astro Smash and biplanes. That's not going to do it. You got to at least get Earthworm Jim something. Is it? I don't know anything about that. Like, I was just wondering, like, if they had some like that, why not show some more? That was what I was thinking. Like, if it was something that they were using with a controller, why can't they just show us a little bit more, just a little bit, and that's it?
Well, because they just have them walking back and forth. They don't have a game yet. Right. The original rumor, of course, was it was just going to be a party game and not a platformer.
That would make sense. But he probably got talking.
That was the original rumor.
He probably got into talking in like an interview and completely changed it. Like, it probably was going to start out as a party game, but then it evolved into what Tommy was telling somebody in an interview. It's going to be like this and this, So who knows what it is now?
Also has a good point here. It is a bigger investment, which is true, because and we learned this of the German article that was from Friday night.
Oh yeah,
that what was it? 16 of the 20 games are being developed with German grant money, something like that. It's something really high.
So that's what it was.
They're not actually funding a whole lot of games at this point. It's really high. It's the German grant money that gave each one of those games several $100,000s to complete or port games over. So it's not like they're using any money of their own money at that point. So that probably makes more sense of why it's not being developed.
Right.
It would have made more sense. Just kickstart a new Earthworm Jim game and not make a whole console.
Exactly. Then you could use that Earthworm Jim money to open a console, to start a console. At least you have some revenue coming in. Just see how it looks, see how it goes. Like, it's always gone back to, like we keep saying it, do the software first. Get the software out there without worrying about the hardware. That's what I don't understand. Just get your software in the hands of people and begin to develop your ecosystem that way. Like, you like these games? Hey, we offered a console that you can get into, and there will be these type of games on it. An ecosystem.
You have anything else on Earthworm Jim? Aside from the fact that they've written down the jokes, and the hardest part is writing jokes and designing.
Oh yeah, exactly. Well, from Tommy's perspective, it is, because that's all he had to do was sit in a room and pitch some jokes, and then they have to actually go out there and make it. No, that's
so
it.
Next part was the user interface. He's making a big deal of it. I don't know why it's such a big deal. I don't really think people care. But seeing what the interface of the system is, do you think it's a big deal?
No.
Do you care? Do you care how the menus are laid out?
No, I don't.
Like,
but
the only thing I'm curious is the reason I think they're not showing it is because they don't have a store fully functioning yet. That's my guess. Where you can download it and load games and stuff. I don't think they have that infrastructure set up yet.
No, but they could at least just show what it's going to look like if it's that big of a deal. I mean, why can't you? Yeah, why does it have to be so secret? But that's where he goes back to. It goes back to the same thing, back to the negativity. He can't show it because he said something. He said he can't show it because people are demanding to see gameplay footage. And he says he's not going to do it. They've learned that they stopped doing things because people are demanding it. We have a timeline, was what he said. That's it.
Well,
that's it.
Yeah,
that's the 1 hour. That's the 1 hour
because they don't want to
mark.
see.
Sorry, go ahead.
He says they start. He said people demanded gameplay. Then he suggested Astro Smash, and they start getting mad because they've seen it already. But that's probably because that's the only game they've shown.
Yeah.
In long playthroughs. A little bit later on, I think we mentioned this already. Slopes asked him what game he would want to make, if he could make any other game, like remake or else make a sequel. And they bring up Aladdin, and that's when Slopes is like, "Well, that's probably not going to happen."
No, let's be honest. Slopes actually says, "Let's be honest. You're probably not going to get Aladdin." And Tommy's like, "Well, I mean to say we haven't been talking to Disney for 3 years.
Say we haven't spoken to Disney for the last few years."
We said that in speaker that time.
It's funny. It's yeah, that's just silly. No, he's not getting Aladdin.
And that's happening. Slopes follows that up with like to listen to it. And it sounded to me like it's something I would say to my son. Like if I knew that he was completely full of crap. I'd be like, after I said something like, "Oh, really?"
So
and this
he brings up Candy Crush. I was gonna say he brings up Candy Crush making billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Somehow I don't know why he brings that up
because it's like a
how's that compared to Amico games like?
Because it was where he was talking about. They were talking about games being a 7 out of 10, and
mobile games.
He said that it's not. Well, it's not about quality; it's about quantity. And I remember at one point. Oh God, what part was it? Oh, he said that it would be like the games. It would be a 7 out of 10 to somebody. It's not necessarily that it's a game for everybody. It's like that's what he meant when he said the games have to be a 7 out of 10. Like it's not necessarily. It's a 7 out of 10 to somebody.
Well, geez, if Smash Brothers is 2.5 out of 10.
Yeah. Well, like Candy Crush.
7 on 10.
The whole Candy Crush thing is because to some people, yes, Candy Crush is a 7 out of 10, but to other people, Candy Crush they think it sucks. So it's not like a real evaluation of their games.
I believe Slopes also brings up, he's like, well, it's like a mobile game, and it's like you can already play on the phone. And then Tommy says, well, you can't play on the couch together on the phone. It's like,
the whole point of it.
But Candy Crush isn't like a co-op game like that.
The point of it is the fact that it's mobile. You can play it on the go. You don't want to come home and sit down on your console and play mobile games.
And like that's a totally different game. It's not like people are like going crazy playing Evil Knievel on the cell phone or Astro Smash, and they're like, "Oh, I really wish I couldn't play on this little hand or this little phone. I want to play on a screen."
Yeah.
So then he also talks about Nintendo, how they had the Wii, but then they didn't focus on the casual market at all with the Wii, which I fully disagree. Slopes brings up like Wii Sports and I think Wii Fit and time ago as well. There's like Mario and Zelda, but he doesn't bring up like Mario Kart, Mario Party, Wii Music, like all the different Wii games.
Yeah, of course not. They talked about developers too. Like at one point, I know Tommy was going on and on about talking about how they were so good to the developers and that they don't get enough credit for that. And that people get mad about silly rumors. Oh, Intellivision takes 50% of devs royalties. That's mean. That's scammy. That's one thing that he said.
I don't know. Like you said, he just kept. don't really have much specifics for the interview and much more, but it's just the tone is kind of weird, just because he kept bringing up the negative stuff himself.
That's the whole thing.
And at the end, when they tried to end the interview, he's like, "Let me just say a little bit more." And he's like, "Complain, haters."
I felt bad. I felt
like,
bad for Slopes. I felt bad for Slopes by the end, because you could just see on his face he wanted this interview to end. I don't think he knew what he was in for. And it's like he kept mentioning it casually, just trying to get Tommy to end the interview. But he's like, no, we're going to talk about a little bit more about this and like the haters and it's all this. And it's like, dude, just end the interview. Cut him off. Pull the mic.
It's probably a good thing that he didn't bring like Slopes in, initiate topics about haters and stuff, because then that interview would have been like 8 hours long.
Yeah, no kidding.
He's losing his safe spaces. Like, he used to go on Atari Age and vent, but people are starting to like push back.
Yeah,
and even we joke around, it's not really a cult. Like, the people who are supporting him, those people are starting to like dwindle. Like, he used to have like Retro Bro, for example, and stuff, and other people. I don't know if Cyrus still does it, but some of the other people have gone really quiet lately.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he just wanted a place where he can vent, because no one else is talking with him, and giving him a platform to vent his frustrations, where people, a platform where people won't push back.
That's the private Facebook group.
That's all he has left now, because on Atari Age, they're starting to, let things go where people complain and not delete the post immediately. And I don't know. I think he's running out of places to hide. Well, maybe not hide, but yeah, I know.
Okay, I believe you. Haha. Yeah.
So, anything else you have on the Slopes interview there?
Let me see here.
Talked about it for 2 hours.
I wrote this down, and it was like, this was something I wrote. I'm just going to read it right out of my notes. I said, it's like, there was a part where Tommy was talking about, are there any big third party developers? And he starts to list some, and then at the end he's like, and there's a few we can't announce yet. So it's like I wrote this down, because it's like he hears himself talking about the third party developers and they don't sound big enough. So he says something like, there's a few more we can't announce yet. And I wrote bullshit on the fly underneath it. Like, he literally, like, he'll be talking to or answering the question, and as he's saying it, it doesn't sound grand enough in his mind. So he like instantly throws in, well, and there's a few more we can't announce yet. Like, I guarantee you there's no more that they can't announce yet. It just sounds good to him to say that, like, you don't want to end it on the ones that he was listing off. It's like, oh, maybe those aren't as big as I think they are. Just things like that. That was what's so annoying about the whole interview. And just the way that Tommy just...
Well, he can't really say much about the third parties, because I think it was getting the timelines mixed up, but he had a video about third-party developers, software developers supporting the system, and he had videos showing the people making Breakout and all that other stuff.
Ocean, one of them or something, and like there was ones that he listed off.
And he had some, and then he made a big deal about third-party developers can come and approach and become, Amico, blah, blah, blah. And what he doesn't bring up, of course he's not going to bring up, that there has been third-party people who have approached them, like small studios or individual studios.
Mm-hmm.
And Intellivision has not responded back to them. They haven't communicated with them. And
yes,
there's just small little tidbits here where people were like, well, we were trying to see if we can get our game on the system, port it over, and they didn't even give them the time and day to talk.
Oh, but if you listen to Tommy, like they are so good too.
And there may be more stories, but that's more of an Ars Technica. Well, I'm sure they're gonna go over that more, because there's apparently some unfavorable experiences with Intellivision and third-party developers.
Yeah,
I don't have that. I'm sure Ars Technica will go into it down the road for somebody, because it wasn't the best. And the main thing is like where they say there's they'll give you money up front and take 50% of the cut, blah blah blah. That money is the grant money. So like, it's not really their money. Mm-hmm. It's like borrowed money. So they don't actually have the money to. So if we have our own studio, they don't have the money to give us funding right now. Still there?
Yeah, I'm here. It was kind of cutting out a second.
I thought you fell asleep. I'm like, is it past your bedtime? Like,
no, it is. I will admit, my wife just called me and said dinner's done. But no, there's been a few times where it's like you've gone in and out. I don't know if it's my internet or yours.
It's probably yours. Maybe the chat is. Am I cutting out? Let me know in the chat. I don't really have a whole lot more to say because I thought it was only going to be 2 hours. We're at 2 hours, 40 minutes.
I think that's a good stream,
and you were worried about not having content. We have the follow-up. The next one, we can talk about this Boston event. There's more live streams going on, I think, right now.
Oh, man, yes. I'm going to be tuning into those tonight while I'm watching football.
Dude, like the one in the morning, like when I watched the stream, it's just, there's really nothing more there. Like this, I'm getting Amico burnout here, if that makes sense.
No, I hear you, dude.
It's the same stuff over and over again. It's like, okay, someone's playing Evil Knievel, someone's playing this. Like, I'm losing my interest.
I do too. That's why this Slopes interview really brought me back into it. It's like, oh my God, this was just 3.5 hours of unhinged rambling. It was just good. And now this Boston event. So yeah, there's some things happening. And
like there'll be some stuff happening because he did say, we didn't even bring it up. Q1 2022 is supposed to be when the console comes out. That's not going to happen. No. It's not happening. Like, no. It's not even up for debate at this point. So that's not happening. So I'm sure after Christmas, after the Christmas, people are busy Christmas, then they'll be preoccupied with that. Then January, when things get boring again, the drama will pick up being like, hey, what's going on? And
yeah,
maybe there'll be more fundraising that's be sketchy and
there'll be some things to talk about. There always is. Every time
I like to talk about other stuff once in a while. That'd be nice.
Yeah, no, absolutely, dude. I would too.
All this negative stuff, like I could talk about the play dates, the Pie Packer. I think we can do an online Pie Packer stream where we can both play Double Dragon NES on a stream because that's what it can do.
That would be awesome. I don't have one of those, but yeah,
it's not. You don't even need that.
It's the service, right?
Isn't service or whatever. You just go online. You just need a controller, unless you want to use the keyboard on your.
No, that would suck.
But it's just other companies are having good. Positive news. It's kind of sad. I do feel guilty that you don't talk about like, hey,
I know
Pie Packer just got $15 million funding, $15 million, because they're doing such a good job and behind the scenes on the Discords and stuff. The people talk normal. It's just so much difference. And that even talking to the Playdate people, like
it's
the people,
positive.
You talk to them, they have what do you call questions and answers periods, like things online. Where they answer questions, and it's just so normal. It's not as juicy as the Amico stuff, unfortunately. So that's why I always do these type of things.
We can talk about all sorts of things. It doesn't always have to be Amico. That would be fun. I like just talking. Like talking about life, talking about anything really.
I do think we need to do one thing though. Stop talking. Wait.
No, this isn't, any, I mean, what I always say is hey, why do I need to dream? Every day of my life is a dream, but like shit, my, he'd be, and when step ahead, and so
Fisticuffs.
Hey mate, see, he's lying,
That's my favorite part.
See, he's lying.
And
That's
so
everything
it's,
we talked about.
there's,
Yeah.
because again,
and obviously, I'd love to know what happens, with.
I had to throw in a couple of slopes.
Was doing it. You can just see his brain working on the next bullshit.
I don't know what else to say, but
I don't know what else to say, but
just
doesn't
to that,
I think that was my favorite one. Just him pausing there.
Yeah.
Originally, I was even thinking of cutting this down because I thought people would just get annoyed and not watch it. But I thought I had to put them all in. I just had to.
And Bagak is funny, but we started with the joke.
This is my favorite part. We started with the joke.
And then created everything around the joke, right? So,
that's just perfect. That whole video was created from the joke.
I'm gonna call it myself.
You son of a gun,
It just doesn't end.
And certainly,
Enough! That's what he needed to do.
You want my head to explode? In the name of all that is good and decent, no more for today!
Yes. That's what I was waiting for. I
think we'll cut it at this point, but
sounds good, man.
Thank everyone who joined in the chat. Even Slopes, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was cool.
And stay tuned for the next one.